Another week, another stream. Let's get everything started, posting links out, and see what we can talk about this week. Halfway through that long wait for Golden Week, so series will finally come back after a obviously always every year getting a couple breaks for the mangaka to actually have some time off, but still I enjoyed the fact that they're hopefully enjoying themselves in their own way. Joy for their joy, you know. They're probably relaxing, having some much needed rest, and hopefully also at the same time thinking of things that they can do to move forward, and that's going to be pretty good. Maybe coming up with new plot points, maybe coming up with new story aspects. That's going to be nice. So we'll hopefully get back to all the excitement and all these guys just having a pretty big and fresh take on what's going on in this series themselves. So anybody who's here, how's it going? Full Custom Hot Dog, Pegasus Seiya, how's it going? JK Network, what's going on? How have you guys been in this last week? I've been doing all right. I've been a little bit busier this week. Didn't get to get as many things as I wanted to. I only watched a couple of anime episodes. I've been reading a couple mangas, but for the most part, I was a little bit busy this week. I didn't get to as many things as I would have preferred, but still, it's just it's one of those weeks. It's a little bit goofy, the week where all the mangaka are off relaxing, and I'm just trying to catch up with everything I'm getting over. Just a little bit of a heavier week than normal, but within the next week I should be have a lot more free time, so hopefully I can watch a couple more animes. I'm like 3 episodes behind on the Kimetsu no Yaiba anime. I don't even know how that happened. What's up, Elric? Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Got to 1,000 subscribers. Appreciate everyone who's here as well. Comes to the stream, subscribe to the channel. Checks out the videos and whatnot. I really appreciate it. It's been good stuff. The Wood Dragon will be more territorial than merciful. But yeah, so I don't know if you watched I put out my videos on each of the theories for the 3 dragon gods that we haven't seen yet. Just some things that I thought would be really interesting. I feel like the Wood Dragon God video I did, I think, is the most likely. The fact that biggest city, where you're gonna find information on the biggest dragon, who's a wood dragon, and the fact that the city is called Drasil, and putting those all together, Yggdrasil, the world tree. I just think it's gonna be a really one of those nice low key laid out if you get the hint, then you'll understand what's coming up. So I just got this feeling it's gonna be kind of like what we saw in Eden Zero with Gilst, and there's gonna be a big ass tree with cities and town structures all throughout the branches, and that's gonna be really cool. Because even though we saw in Eden Zero, but we only saw a little bit of it. We didn't get to see them exploring Gilst at all, which I really liked. I really liked strange structures like that. But yeah, I think it's just going to be a really interesting aspect to see going out there. And then the Moon Dragon, I think there's a couple interesting things in the series that could tie to her. And I think that I actually had a pretty good theory with the Gold Dragon God, just because the fact that it's Spanish, I feel like, mysterious and mystic gold dragon god. El Dorado, I mean, its name is Spanish, so I feel like there's some good, some good credibility behind it. The fire versus wood, ice versus wood seems simple. That's probably what they think. That's probably what they think with the wood dragon god. I mean, the fact that it can read minds is going to add an extra layer to it being so powerful, because it's going to know everything that they're going to do. And I was talking to somebody in my comment section of the possibility that the Wood Dragon God is going to be able to, use its power to see a potential link between Lucy and Natsu, which could, solidify my theory of, of them being linked up through living magic. I a couple videos on it if you want to go check that out if you don't know what I'm talking about. My thoughts on the latest Game of Thrones episode. Do you think the Night King was wasted? Well, no, because the Night King really always felt more like a tool to get to unite people on one side to eventually go against Cersei. I mean, the series is called Game of Thrones. So, they're gonna go the end of the series. The big final battle should be centered around the Iron Throne, the thing that they've been built up through the entire series, and there was no way that it would have been a long out battle, like the long night as they called it. Like I didn't think it was really possible going to happen because of how OP the Night King was in comparison. It wasn't like, they had a couple characters that can like maybe like together fend off the Night King and like his advances, because it was like that scene when they were pretty much just climbing over the wall like World War Z style, and it was just like there's no way that this can last an extra night. They're gonna, because every single time they kill somebody, that's an extra person on the Night King's army that he can just bring back. And like there was no way they were also going to be able to kill the Night King without it being some like underhanded scheme way. Nobody was going to be able. John was never going to be able to fight him 1v1. The Night King is too strong. The dude was able to throw like a probably 20 to 30 pound ice javelin, like at enough force that it looked like it got shot from a ballista and pierced a dragon. So I don't know what people were expecting John to be able to do. And like, do you see that scene when John and the Night King were just like standing out on that battlefield, and they could have had a 1v1 right there, and the Night King was like, nope. Like the whole premise that he would just have some honorable 1v1 was not happening. Like the dude doesn't care; he just wants to kill and get stuff done. Then and legitimately I saw a picture on Twitter. I think was a really good like straight like ender of that whole conversation is like the Night King has been in a total of like 8 minutes of the show, and Cersei has been since the start. Like she's been built up throughout the whole series, so I don't know why people are surprised that she's the big final villain. Well, what's up, Sammy? How's it going? Oh, yeah, full custom hot dog. They're in the series in Fairy Tail. There's a one of these dragon gods is the gold dragon god, and his name is I think it's Viernes, which is Spanish for Friday. And so the fact that it's Spanish and it's like a very powerful mystic dragon god, I have my theory that it's connected to what'll pretty much be in their world of El Dorado, the mystic golden city. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a pretty good theory. I've caught up on to where Mereoleona is fighting the Eye of the Midnight Sun. Oh, on Raya, dude, that was awesome. Raya's pretty cool. I really like Raya, and then Mereoleona is solid as hell. What do you think of the Eden Zero spoilers? I like them a lot. I really like Drac and Joe. The dude seems pretty savage, like I anticipated. Like he's not gonna be like any of the villains from really like Rave Master Fairy Tail, because he's not like an evil bad guy with like some whatever their scheme is. Like you all the members of Demon Card that were doing everything for King and Doryu and his plan to create like the Eternal Night pretty much. And you had all these different cultists doing stuff for the name of Zeref or Fairy Tail. Like Drac and Joe is just a criminal kingpin that loves money, and I knew he was gonna come off more of like a scummy bad guy than like some big evil grand schemer. I think that's going to be really cool. I think that's going to be a really interesting fresh take from Mishima, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. Even those panels with him were pretty savage, and it's like the fact that he I don't want to go into spoilers because I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but all I can say is that dude's pretty brutal. You haven't read it. You haven't read any of these, hot dog. What do you mean? What's up, Maverick? How's it going? How's it going, Multi Hussein? Do you think of Xiao Mei's role in Eden Zero? I don't know. I feel like she's just going to be some form of... so the fact that she's, like, exists, like, as a cosmic being who, like, talks about the story itself, she potentially could, like, know about Rave Master and Fairy Tail. Because the thing is that Hiromashima has said that they exist in their own universes, and I've gotten into arguments with people about this. I mean, I don't know if they remember, but, like... But they already have technology to go to alternate universes in Fairy Tail, so it's not like it'd be mind-bogglingly crazy for it to be like, hey, we invented this machine again, and then they use it, and then somehow they bring over, like, Haru and Shiki, or they somehow all end up in the same universe. Like, another one, and, shenanigans, move forward. Hold on a second, I gotta post on Twitter to see what exactly, or to tell people about the stream really quick. 1 second. I actually was watching, so I was watching the Fairy Tail anime yesterday, and I was getting really salty because the anime makes me really annoyed because it doesn't you can tell where they don't put in a lot of effort and they don't like do anything. It's the same thing with Black Clover, but I saw the preview for the next episode and it looks like there might be some good stuff on the way animation wise. I'm really hoping for some good scenes. Just like I just really would like a total of like 2 or 3 minutes in a big fight of nice animation. I don't need it to be like mind-boggling. I just want it to look cool, so I can rewatch scenes later just for like YouTube scenes, character fight, and then like gifs and stuff. Hopefully, I'm hoping that the next big fight is gonna be it's one of the most interesting ones in the series, and I definitely really got my fingers crossed I don't fuck it up. Now, also, really quick, I'd really appreciate if you would thumbs up the stream, befriend the like button, and anybody who hasn't yet that's new, subscribe. I'd really enjoy your subscription and checking out my future videos. What's up, Andres? How's it going? 1 second. Do you think Doflamingo? Wait, what is that? I started like halfway through that conversation. Do you think that who do you think was more cruel, King Joffrey or Doflamingo? What? King Joffrey was a fucking psycho. The dude is brutal. I mean, Joffrey was way worse than Doflamingo. Like he did some really fucked up stuff. And the thing though about Joffrey that I gotta give him credit for, like in comparison to Tommen was a pussy. Like that whole scene where it's like, hey, King Tommen, the Sparrows have captured your mom and put her in a dungeon. And he's like, I don't really know what to do. Like the thing about Joffrey is Joffrey was like a little shit, but he just would have been like hang all of them in the streets, catch every single sparrow and kill them. And I that's the only thing I really wish that the only time I ever really wish that he was around, just to have that moment where he's like, fuck these guys, we need to take them out. We can't have them, acting like they can do whatever they want in my kingdom. We tagged everyone with server without any context. But it's a Black Clover stream. Well, I mean, you can ask My Hero Academia as well. I mean, Black Clover is obviously one of the themes. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Asta and Yuno watch the first Wizard King and Licked in action of just two legends going against the demon and showing what exactly they're capable of rivals of their caliber. Because one thing Tabata is really good at is showing off rivalries, making rivalries really feel good. And I mean, like, it's not even just Austin, you get similar, like, really nice tones from like Fuego Leon and Nozzle, Magna and Luck. Even like smaller ones like Yami and Jack have some really nice rivalry aspects to it. I mean, Asta versus Yuno. We'll probably get a fight between them, like maybe not like Naruto Sasuke, like they're trying to almost kill each other. I think that they'll have a really nice bout, just like at the end of the arc, like before a time skip, just to kind of have like we're not going to kill each other, but we're going to take this very seriously and fight kind of like way, which should be pretty sick. And I don't know, I feel like it'll be I feel like it's almost necessary, but it needs to happen at some point. It doesn't need to happen this arc. Were you able to finish my email and remember what happens there? Why happens? No, I've been busy this week. I still have the spot open in a tab, but I haven't watched in the last few days. I'm gonna get back to it soon. I haven't been able to watch like almost any anime this week, other than like playing stuff in the background while I'm doing work. I haven't, because I sometimes I'll put stuff in the back just like to have the noise, but I'm not paying attention too much. But I only watched like a couple episodes of stuff this week. I only watched like the new Black Clover and the new Fairy Tail episodes, and I already knew what was happening in them, so I was mostly paying attention to a couple scenes. But yeah, I've been a little busy this week. I should have a lot more time next week though. This week just been a little hectic. If Ramsay from Game of Thrones tortures instead of Kyoka, you think she would break her spirit? No. Kyoka. The thing is that what's this? Ramsay was more vicious, I would say, in like his was more graphic, but that's because of the series difference. I mean, the only time that really like I feel like his was like really really like savage is when he made it so Theon thought he escaped, and then he just went right like this whole like trip to be end up right back in that room. Other than that, it was like still like it was pretty bad, but like that was the only thing that was just like Jesus, dude, what did you do? I mean, with Kyoka though, Kyoka's was like obviously less aggressive, I would say, in like display because obviously the gap in the level of you can do in Game of Thrones versus Fairy Tail. But Kyoka's was still pretty brutal. I mean, she was advancing or heightening her senses to the point where she could just like slap the side of her, and it would feel like parts of her body are being ripped off. I'm sure that Kyoka and Ramsey would get along. I watched the Demon Slayer opening. Oh yeah, it's really good. I really like the addition of how like the animation looks with the older style of like Japanese art and like the brighter colors along with the more dark layout of the series itself, and just kind of like that contrast of just kind of like this kind of very. I mean, it doesn't look as rough in the anime as it does in the manga, the way that the author's art style is, but then you have this really nice kind of like way she draws elements and like attacks it. It just makes it kind of just adds an extra like layer of flavor to it, which I think is really cool. Do you remember if the elf gotch said? Oh yeah, the magic thing. I don't know. It depends because we don't know if he was just saying something or if like to be poetic or if he was speaking specifically about something about the anti magic itself. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot coming beyond this to see what exactly what exactly the larger scale of a Black Clover grimoire does. Because though we've had it obviously the entire series, there hasn't been it hasn't been as kind of like focus relevant because no one's been like, hey Asta, why does your grimoire have 5 leaves on it? I mean, it's obviously very like dirty and it's kind of hard to see, but it hasn't been as like deeply looked at. There hasn't been too much of a reason other than like curiosity, but obviously beyond this, now that people know that a 5-leaf Black Clover, there's something more to it than just I don't know. I don't know. It's strange. It's interesting. If you just saw it, you'd probably be curious, but there wasn't anything to really worry over, other than it just kind of is like this weird power. But now, obviously, they know that there's a lot to a Black Clover grimoire than just being an OP power. And I think that once we start getting introduced to more Black Clover grimoire users, there'll be more things to kind of really say stuff about it. Like you can remember in Bleach, there was Ichigo got his mask. Like he first got his mask like before it was like short right before he got his Shikai. And it showed up a couple times throughout the Soul Society arc, but he didn't even find out about the visors until after that. Now, we didn't even know about anything really beyond like it's a thing, it's being hinted at. We know that there's going to be more to it later, but it'll be until like more start to kind of come in and we see more towards it that we'll probably see more of the effects. I kind of see something like that happening because one thing that has been very subtly put throughout the series. If you see, there are certain scenes where Asta will get like really worked up. Like believe that there's one when he was yelling at Langris. I'd have to go back and check the chapter. There's a couple of them when he gets extremely worked up, and one of his eyes, the right eye, and the right eye will turn into the way that he looks when he has his anti-magic form up, and he ends up getting a fang too. So he ends up getting some of those traits outside of outside of the form. So it kind of makes me wonder if it's starting to slowly assimilate into him, if he's going to become kind of more of a hybrid between the two, or maybe he won't have to do the stance entirely to do the same level. Like maybe Asta will be able to go into that like the anti-magic form he has now, but without having to do the stance. And the stance, when he does it, will be that second level that we saw when him and Yuno went against the devil. There's definitely a lot. There's a lot Tabata is laying out. He's very good at putting out stuff that's like gonna be plot important later, and you're paying attention to that, but you're not noticing smaller things that he's just kind of like strung on around it, just so it's there, but you're clearly paying attention to what you believe is the bigger thing versus the the smaller thing that will combine into a bunch of other smaller things to have some big reveal. So that's what I'm thinking later. I think I did a video on it. I'd have to go back and check. I'll do another one probably soon, just kind of talk about it since we've seen the advancement of Asta's anti-magic form and the idea that he might be kind of like melding with the anti-magic itself, at least to a partial degree, that it's just affecting him on a physiological level and not just when he's using the anti-magic. Cero Descaron and an attack that combines Grimjawn's Grand Right Cero and Descaron. Was that an advanced version? I'm trying to think. I don't remember what context that is. I remember Descaron was Grimjaw's big cool claw attack, and that was a really cool part. Grimjaw's awesome. I wish that Bleach anime was still going. I only can get stuff about the novels from a couple people I know as they pass on what's been happening. And it's unfortunate. It sucks, especially because like Bleach is still pretty popular. I'm sure that the novels would still sell pretty well in English, but never gonna put them out. So you gotta wait for translators to do stuff. Since Maria from Dragon Joe's crew has stretchy legs, and her last name is Slime, do you think that her actual body is? You think her body's actually slime? She's probably some form of slimy alien, and maybe some form of alien that she doesn't have a for sure kind of shape, and she can turn into kind of like what she's in now, or maybe her suit makes it. I don't know. It's an interesting character, just kind of like going off. I want to see what these guys can do. Like, it's weird. The two of the guys, one dude's kind of cool because he's like that cyborg cowboy, and the other dude kind of looks bland. But I think that the fact that they're going to be, tied to Dragon Joe, there's probably going to be some cooler aspects to him. Because the dude just seems cool by default. Definitely looking forward to what exactly he's going to do. And I did like that just his ether gear seems to just be straightforward alchemy, which is going to be pretty badass to see how it works. I thought maybe for a second it was gravity, and then I thought about for a second, I'm like, how would it be gravity? Shiki already has gravity. Is it going to be gravity versus gravity? And I thought maybe weight alteration, and then obvious moment, it's like he's an alchemist. He probably changed the material when he touched that glass bottle. I won't go too much into it because I don't want to throw in too many spoilers. By the way, I know who you are, both of you saying. Do you think Elsie's ether gear will be a callback to Hades' Devil Eye, and her eye patch gives her eye strength? Maybe. I think it'd be pretty cool to combine the two of them. It depends, because I'm wondering if the fact that she has a sword, and obviously she's like kind of like Urza, the whole kind of like layout for Justice and Elsie is kind of like Urza and Jalal, but kind of switched. Instead he's kind of like he works for the Star Federation Army, and he's going after her as a criminal instead of him being a criminal and believing they can't be together because of that. He's trying to like condone himself for it. It's in an interestingly reversed way. Have you started reading Pandora Hearts? Not yet. I still have the tab up, though. I need to read it. Well, I started reading... I had to switch to read 20th Century Boys, because one of my friends started reading it, and I was reading it slowly but surely. And one of my friends, as he reads stuff, he posts the panels and stuff and out in the public, and, discusses what's going on. It's cool reaction stuff, just kind of give you, in that moment, impression. Like, he's done that with all the series he does, and I usually do that as well. But I don't want to get spoiled, so I've got to catch up on that. And I'm going to be done with that probably by, like, Wednesday. I'm probably going to read a couple, like 2 or 3 Pandora Hearts chapters today, though. I reread chapter 1, and then I'm going to read chapter 2 and 3 for sure tonight. Favorite Game of Thrones character? It's between Arya, Brienne, Jaime, and probably Podrick. I like Podrick. He's a good dude. I found the Asta Demon Eye versus Langris is saying on Discord. Yeah, there's a couple of them. There's a couple instances of it. I have a collage of it somewhere on my computer because I'm fairly certain I did a video of it, and I just want to talk about it at some point again because there's obviously new revelations with Black Clover grimoires. We're gonna see much more coming along the way, and just that kind of like very quiet way that Tabata has been putting that out without having to bring obvious attention to it and putting it right in front of you, but something you'd have to pay attention towards to really understand, or to not really to understand, to really catch. It's really nice on him, and it's again a really nice way for him to put out stuff from the future. So when we get some like really cool plot twist with it, you can go back and look and be like, oh shit, this has been planned for a while. Black Clover is really good. Oh, I do really like Black Clover. It's definitely it's my favorite in Weekly Shonen Jump right now, and it's definitely one of my favorite shonens. Obviously, Fairy Tail is my favorite shonen. I put it up there. It's like usually like Fairy Tail, Yu-Gi-Oh, Black Clover, and then obviously outside of shonens, there's stuff like Berserk and whatnot. Definitely really like Black Clover. Black Clover, though, for sure is the most exciting thing in Weekly Shonen Jump right now. But legitimately, everything in Shonen Jump that I've been reading lately has been really good. The only series that I've been bored on is One Piece, and like out of the only other manga that's been like as boring as One Piece lately is Seven Deadly Sins. But oh yeah, it's been some pretty interesting stuff following this forward. How many Wizard Kings would be sniped off the planet by Eclipse One Artemis from My Hime? Oh, we don't have a. We only know the two, and one of the two we don't even know his name, and we don't know how the extent of his power. We gotta wait for more of the members of more of the Wizard Kings to really be out there and to find out. Because it'd be different if we at least knew like this is Wizard King, this person, X, and this is what their magic was. So we got a couple of them. We can at least gauge, like, probably what they're capable of versus what we know already. It's kind of hard because we only really know Julius, and Julius is broken as hell. Since No was low on mana, she can't defeat Fano without Jack. Well, she wouldn't. I don't think she really would have been able to do it that well anyway because she had no way to affect her her elemental body and her regeneration, whereas Jack can because Jack's blades and the way that they adapt to stuff. 1 second. 1 second. I definitely want to find out more about Jack the Ripper. The dude's so cool. I mean, he's obviously got a really iconic character he's named off of, Jack the Ripper, except, the one we got is a good guy, and just the extent of probably why he has that name, and we're probably going to get a really crazy backstory with him, something really weird, and I really want to know, like, especially like the first time he met Yami, I really want to find that out as well. 1 second. Okay, I was responding to someone really quick. What's up, Joshua Light? How's it going, dude? Do you think there'll be a twist where this word devil is defeated and us, the devil, is the real fight against Licht in the first Wizard King? I don't think so. I mean, it'd be. I feel like we don't need another, like, this is the final villain character. I really. At least not for right now. Obviously, I'm talking about this arc. It's because we thought it was. We thought it was Licht, and then that turned out to be Patry, and then Patry turned out not to be it. It turned out to be this guy. And so I don't think there should be another, like, it's not over kind of like, because then it's like, how are they going to defeat this guy? And like the anti-magic demon seems pretty he actually seems pretty cooperative. He's not aggressive towards Asta. He seems kind of chill. I mean, he was pretty nice to him when they talked, and the fact he hasn't seemed to like try to aggressively take over his body at all either. He seems pretty chill. Yu-Gi-Oh for the win. Yeah, I love Yu-Gi-Oh. I need to catch up on Reigns though. I've only watched the first season of Reigns because Yu-Gi-Oh has always felt like one of those series to binge watch, and because like I like to watch duels in full rather than like week by week because it's easier to follow what's going on. Like Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like you miss or forget one turn and you're gonna the whole duel is like screwy for you. Definitely want to look back and probably watch it through again. I don't like the dub though. Usually I like the Yu-Gi-Oh dubs, especially compared to a lot of anime. But like, I don't like the Vrains one. They make Playmaker sound so weird. I don't know what they did there. He sounds like some like announcer for like a Roman Coliseum or some shit. I don't know what happened. Like he literally just was supposed to sound like a confident dude. I don't know what they did there. What if Asta was a demon Zeref created? That'd be weird. I'd be there's what's funny is if you look at that, if you go back and look at that, you go back and look at that panel where it shows that kind of like silhouette of that figure when all the elves were killed, and you zoom in, he has the same hairstyle as Zeref, and I think it's 500 years in Black Clover instead of 400 years for Zeref. But I always thought that was just really funny. I made that joke for a while that it was secretly Zeref who did everything. But definitely, it'd be really weird. I mean, he's definitely got a lot of demons. Probably not related to Zeref. Just under assumption. Reading Volume 6 of Demon Slayer. Kimetsu no Yaiba keeps getting better and better. Yeah, Inosuke's that boy. Inosuke and Zenitsu. Tanjiro's pretty cool though, but I really like Inosuke just because the dude's a surprise, like, every time he steps up. I hope Jack gets a rookie that isn't Seki. I like Seki. Seki's such an underrated dude. It's like, a lot of his magic is legitimately good. Like, the Seki Magnum Cannonball legitimately is a good spell. Because it's defensive and offensive at the exact same time. It's not, like, and then there's the shooting star. If you just took off the fact he has a mold of himself on it, it would look really cool. I like the weird Dyson sphere balls on it, because when you think about it, the fact that they're balls and not wheels, he'd be able to move in any direction, like, instantly while riding it. So he's super mobile on that, and he's got a Seki Magnum Cannonball. He can probably use them at the same time. The dude can literally become just like a mobile hyper tank, and I think that's pretty cool. Legitimately, I like Seki. Seki just keeps getting screwed over. Like, I'm really hoping he's one of those characters who he starts out, you just don't like him because he's, really just kind of petty. Like, obviously he's a bit of a scum dude, but he's obviously not evil. He's just a bit of a dick. And I am hoping that he turns around and becomes a liked character. I do like Seki, and he does hold a lot of potential. I do want things to turn around for him. If Griffith was in Game of Thrones, do you think he would win and have the Iron Throne? Griffith would... Well, is this... At what point Griffith? Is this current Griffith? Because current Griffith would mow down the Night King. Like, his army is beyond anything in Game of Thrones, like, for sure. I mean, Zod can just, like, mow down fields of people, and he's got I forgot the dragon's name, and then there's Irving, the dude who would snipe people from miles away as a fucking archer. Dude's crazy. Thoughts on the censoring of the original Yu-Gi-Oh, like the finger guns? It was silly, but obviously it was on 4Kids and Kids WB, so it's like, it's understandable, and it added an extra layer of goofiness to Yu-Gi-Oh. And the weird thing about Yu-Gi-Oh is the manga, the sub-anime, and the dub anime are all canon, which is ridiculous, but who the fuck knows? Because Yu-Gi-Oh's manga, only the original manga follows pretty much the story of the anime. There's a couple differences because of censorship and shit. But, like, everything after that, like, all the Yu-Gi-Oh series beyond the original, the mangas and the animes are two different things. Like, they still have a lot of the same characters, and the main character will still usually have the same kind of ideal for their deck, but they won't have the same cards. But beyond that, they're all completely different. But Yu-Gi-Oh is just, like, really weird with its canon, but it's still fun at the same time. I would really, I don't know. The finger guns were goofy, but they're still enjoyable. And, like, the fact that the Shadow Realm came out, and it was such an iconic thing for the dub that it became a tie-in to, like, Yu-Gi-Oh in general. I always thought that was pretty fun. I do like Yu-Gi-Oh's dub. Most of the dub. I don't like the Jack Atlas. I don't know how you take like a 6'5" jacked dude, literally named Jack, and give him like a girly British voice. I don't understand who thought that was a good idea. Like, the rest of the characters in 5Ds, their dubs are fine, but Jax just annoys the hell out of me. I don't like it. How did they not give him a badass manly voice? Who is better as a friend and power, Deku or Asta? Should I watch Seven Sins because I did not? I don't have. In terms of who's a better friend, I think Asta's a better friend, because not only both of them are really cool, but Asta just seems like he's like fully okay with like doing anything to help a buddy. Like, you just be like, hey, do you want to help me clean up this area? He doesn't have to be part of his job. He just would do it because he appreciates everything that he has now. And he's very genuine. Deku's a good kid too, but I like Asta a lot more. Asta's that dude. Seven Only Sins, I I mean, you could watch it if you want. The first arc is good, and the second arc starts out good, but it just goes downhill from there. I don't know. I can rant about I could rant about Seven Deadly Sins this entire stream, but I don't want to. It bugged me. Like a lot of the stuff that happens after like the first third of the second arc really got on my nerves, and then this last arc has just been a fucking train wreck. I don't know. I'm getting salty thinking about it. Not current Griffith. Griffith with the Band of the Hawk. I mean, he probably could. His army though, they were more like they were really good at strategy, but they didn't have any like huge standout things other than Griffith and Guts. Like Guts obviously would just be a powerhouse amongst anybody in Game of Thrones, other than the Night King. That at that point, Guts. I mean, Guts' current sword would definitely kill the Night King. That's not an argument. The fact that if you know anything about Berserk, Guts' sword was originally just this big it's 6 feet long and 400 pounds of just metal, and it was made to kill dragons. It was made purely for beheading dragons, and it has killed so many otherworldly creatures that like their blood is soaked into the metal. The fact that it exists on multiple planes of existence, and it can kill like ghosts and spirits. So like it would just cleave right through the Night King. Factual. That's not in any way an argument of how the fact that Dragon Slayer would fuck up the Night King. I mean, in terms of like an army though, I don't think the Band of the Hawk by themselves could take down, like, what is Cersei's army? So isn't it like 30k or something bigger than that now? I don't remember the exact numbers. Depends how many people Griffith has on his side. Griffith definitely now, that's like undeniable. You'd walk through him. Hold on, let me scroll up and see what exactly I missed. So I don't want to miss people's comments. Like obviously the entire point of the stream is to chat and hang out. Yeah, God, Seki. Needs respect. Yeah, I like Seki. Seki's a good dude. He just he's a bit scummy. He's a bit of a dick, but he's not evil. It's kind of like the same way of like the current king of Augustus. He's like a complete dick, and he's a bit of a petty bitch, but he's not evil. Like I remember like when he almost died, and some people were like annoyed that the Yami and Jack and Finral saved him, and it's like not only their job, but the dude isn't that bad. I mean, he's an asshole, but he's not evil. He doesn't deserve to die. He's plus I feel like he could get redeemed. I feel like it could be easy to redeem him, and plus he's got clearly very powerful magic. He's got light magic, so that's going to be something they could easily become really good in the future. For their side, you know. If Boruto turns evil, who can stop him when Sasuke and Naruto are dead? Boruto's not going to turn evil. He's going to fight Kawaki, and Kawaki's a bad guy. Do you think Naruto had a major part in the first defeat of the devil? Probably. Like, her sealing magic is probably really strong. I mean, it worked on the Shadow Palace, and apparently it affected the first Wizard King to the point where he's kind of, like, in this weird stasis of being, like, in this, like, petrified state. I think we can get into a spy arc in Black Clover, finally showing the vice captain of the Black Bulls off. Yeah, I have the theory that the vice captain of the Black Bulls is going to be come back and have been on like some deep cover mission in one of the other kingdoms. Exodia Obliterate. Dude, Exodia is awesome. Did you see that picture of Thanos with you have the Infinity Gauntlet and a gold dual disc with all of the 5 pieces of Exodia, and Exodia is just like standing behind him. I'm not a big fan of the MCU, but I did like that picture just because it looks really sick. I think Rebecca's going to need to get her Ether to fight a member of Drac and Joe's crew. I mean, probably because they have Homura and Wise, and then like obviously Hermit, Sister, and Witch. None of them seem combat characters. So, you with 3 sides, and then obviously Shiki, and then you have Homura, Wise, and Rebecca. So Rebecca's definitely going to need to get it. She's probably going to fight the cowboy dude, and they're going to have a cool marksman fight. She's going to need to get her Ether Gear soon. At least kind of like figure out how exactly she's going to, how she's going to do it. I mean, it'd be different if it was just some random guy, but he's obviously as a member of Drac and Joe's crew, he's a big deal. Say goodbye to Exodia. Fucking goddamn Weevil. Weevil makes me salty because bugs are so cool, and there's like not that many good bug cards in the game. There's some good ones that you could combo with, but like all the OG ones Oh, Senator Shroud, goddamn Weevil Underwood, he's just a scumbag. Which is weird, because, like, when I thought back of, like, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Weevil, like, always kind of, like, got partnered up with Rex Raptor. I'm gonna go with their dub names. I like their dub names more than their sub names. But, like, Rex wasn't a bad guy. Like, he's pretty, again, just similar to how, similar with Seki, he's kind of a douche, but he wasn't evil. And, he compares him to, like, Weevil, who is definitely, like, a piece of shit. Like, I don't know how they decided, like, well, you're on the same level. I mean, I don't know. I always felt bad for Rex. Plus, Rex had a cooler deck. Rex's deck is way better, and dinos and bugs both like those two types. But like, at least Rex wasn't a piece of shit. Let me see, where was I? Do you think Goldry from the Purple Orcas and Revchi are going to be important in the Part 2 Black Clover? I mean, so the thing is they're going to the Shadow Palace, and there's the whole thing that they said that there's rare magics and tools and treasures in there. I feel like they're gonna come out of there and have a bunch of stuff, and maybe that'll lead to a way where everyone's gonna figure out a way to get stronger in the next arc. Like after the time skip, maybe like before a time skip, we'll have like a short training arc where we'll see all the characters get some trinket or tool, and they're like, okay, this is what I'm gonna need to master to get stronger, and then maybe that's when we'll have like Asta versus Yuno, and we'll have a cool fight between them before closing out part 1 and leading into a time skip. I don't know, I feel like it's a really logical way to make them relevant while not having them kind of... Because I don't think they can really do anything in a fight with the devil, but I feel like that they can definitely hold some importance going further down. Let me see. How would you like a shonen protagonist with autism? I mean, Shiki legitimately feels like he has autism, 100%. Like, he's super awkward. He doesn't seem to be able to read people at all. He's, like, any of his rage moments, he doesn't seem to be, like, fighting with any form of, like, thought behind it. It just seems to be pure, like, unhinged rage. Like, Shiki... So I have a theory with Shiki. I'll tell you guys... I don't know if I'm going to make the video for it, but I'll just tell you guys my theory pretty much with Shiki. One second. Let me just respond to somebody real quick. But, so I had this theory about Shiki because when I was thinking about it, wait, what the fuck? Oh, the thing about Shiki is the 4 seasons. And if you know about Hiramashima, there was originally, he had a character... Shiki was the main character of his Monster Hunter short series that he did, but I don't think he owns the name, or I don't think he owns the rights to the character because it's still under Capcom, and I believe that they own the full rights to the series. Otherwise, I feel like he would have brought in the what was the dragon name in his Monster Hunter series. There was a really cool dragon. I can't remember what it was called off the top of my head, but it was this really sick, like, star dragon, and it looks awesome. It's definitely one of my favorite dragon designs from him. But he had a character named Shiki, and they look similar, but they have a... I wouldn't really say that they act that similar, other than being a little bit emotional, but two very different aspects of it. But when you think about Shiki being the 4 seasons, you have his first one, you have Haru being spring, you have Natsu summer, Toka winter, and Aki as fall, and you have Shiki as the 4 seasons. And each of them, their name has something to do about him. Haru as spring is very relaxed, very chill, kind of like the way that, he really kind of goes with the flow of things a lot of the time. Natsu is summer, he's very, he's got a lot of energy to him, he's got a very bright and I would say warm personality. You got Aki, who's very kind of like, I would say kind of like very abrasive, yet very calming. And then you have Toko, who's just kind of like cold and unforgivable in a lot of ways. But with Shiki is the 4 seasons. And about that, we only know that he's very emotional in multiple aspects. But I'm also wondering what exactly around his name is going to be relevant about the series later. Because what do we know so far? We know gravity user that he got from Ziggy. We know that Ziggy went out to look for Mother. We don't know
for what reason other than, Shiki was involved that he turned around and stopped. And we know that when people find Mother, that apparently they can be reborn. And I had this weird theory that Shiki is also Shiki really wants friends. I have this weird theory that Shiki was actually a planet that maybe was it used to be like some big planet, like very populated, and then something happened, no life on it. And I know that Hiramashima really likes the MCU, and obviously Thanos being really big, and how everything. I don't need to explain Thanos' backstory. I'm sure most people know at least the MCU version. I'm not talking about the comic version. Just take a little bit of that, and you just imagine like this kind of like planet desolate, and there's nobody left. Something happens to where Mother gets a hold of the planet, recreates it as a person, and I feel like that would make sense. A planet has 4 seasons. Shiki has gravity powers. It was somehow very significant to Ziggy that he pretty much had to abandon like his journey, what he was doing. Maybe like the fact that maybe as the planet being desolate and having no life left on it is maybe how, or maybe why Shiki really wants to make friends, like maybe kind of like capture that back, why he wants a lot of friends. Maybe before as like a very populated planet, he just wants that kind of like mindset again. It's a very weird theory, and I just had I had that off the top of my head recently. I really wanted to share it. I didn't really know if I wanted to make a video on it. I'll probably make a better video on it after this, but put it out there right now to see what you guys had really to think about it. Let me get back to it. Both of them are in the Shadow Palace for a reason. Yeah, they're looting. Goldry and Revchi they're looting. They said beforehand that they're like, I heard there's a lot of loot in there, and then they're like, Yeah, I definitely think they're gonna come out of there with a lot of loot. Maybe they could run like a black market and have like a lot of cool magic tools in there. That'd be pretty sick. What do you think before the actor in Captain Marvel in the movie was good for them? No, I don't like Brie Larson. I don't like Brie Larson at all. She seems insufferable. There's been no point where Brie Larson has spoke that I've seen where I just haven't cringed at pretty much every sentence she said. She just doesn't seem like a pleasant person. Apparently the Avengers cast doesn't like her either. You can tell in some of the interviews when they're sitting next to her, they don't like her. Like some of the facial expressions she makes when they talk, I don't think they enjoy her presence. She just doesn't seem likable. A badass would already be if she learned how to fight from guts instead of the Hound. I mean, she'd be a million times more effective at killing, like, from guts. What was the dude's name that was, oh my god. The dude who was really good, he was like the jack of trades of the Band of the Hawk. He wasn't great at anything, but he just had a bunch of skills. I can't remember what his name was. And I think he was the knife thrower, or, because that's where Guts learned how to throw knives, wasn't he? I don't remember his name, but like, she would teach him a ton of skills. How do you think others shown protagonists fare in Fist of the North Star, Berserk World? I mean, a lot of them would die. I mean, unless you count, like, the fact that they're way more powerful than pretty much everything in those worlds, and they just one-shot everything. You get them, like, the same power levels, they'll probably end up dead. I mean, only a couple of them would probably really fare well. It would depend on, like, how many of them can deal with, like, severity. Like, for sure. They're like... one that Luffy definitely wouldn't last. Like, the dude, when he lost his brother, like, went into a coma on the spot. He would just, like, die instantly the second something bad happens to one of, like, anybody close to him. Like, obviously there's a lot of, like, it's not like all the other characters would be like, oh man, my friend's dead, that sucks. I mean, they'd still, like, be hurt, but, like, goddamn, if you go into a emotional coma right there, you're gonna get your head chomped off. God, where was I? Oh god, I lost my spot. Hold on. Okay, here we go. What is the lowest tier anime character you can think of that can kill the Night King? The Night King's like powerful, but he doesn't have like any hacks powers. Like anybody that could turn invisible would be able just to stab him, or like anybody with long range. I mean, as long as you could get that Valerian steel in, or something maybe with like an equivalent to it, or maybe like another hacks magic. I mean, there's a ton of them. I mean, most shonens, they have, like, enough people to kill the Night King. Because the Night King is powerful, but, like, Game of Thrones people are still, like, human speed. And most shonen characters in battle manga, like, human speeds aren't anything to them. Like nesting with bullets is, like, it's almost like a standard, really. And if you're, like, reacting to supersonic speeds, the Night King's not going to do shit to you. he's gonna be super slow. Do you think the random dungeons in Black Clover came from other dimensions? I mean, that's a good theory. I'm wondering if there's gonna be some connection to dungeons and maybe these other dimensions, because we haven't got a lot on dungeons yet, but we haven't really explored a lot of the world outside of the Clover Kingdom and like a couple spots like in between the borders of other nations. Hopefully, we'll see more. I don't think that there's really anything that Tabata doesn't seem like he has planned out with a reason. So there'll probably be something more, an explanation of the dungeons, and maybe because like we have elves, we have dwarves, maybe we'll have something like minotaurs that did stuff with dungeons, or maybe the dwarves will be involved. Because I know minotaurs, obviously the original stories, there was one minotaur. I think it was in Tartaros. I think it was in that somewhere within that labyrinth, being like a guardian. I don't remember. I have to double check. I just remember there was originally one, and he resided inside of a like a dungeon or a maze. You think Funimation? Do you like Funimation after all the drama with going with Kick? Like, no, fuck Funimation. Funimation's trash. Funimation and Crunchyroll, I don't like either of them. I stopped liking Crunchyroll after the whole High Guardian Spice thing. Like, fuck them. Like, why don't you virtue signal harder at Crunchyroll? You guys are a bunch of pieces of shit. I already am annoyed that... I'm already super annoyed with, like, them changing dialogue and dubs. Not just from, like, yeah, we had to change the dialogue so it fit, like, character mouthing. Like, the way that, like, some of the characters talk, Japanese versus English. They changed, like, that scene in Dragon Maid where they straight up changed the dialogue completely to have some, like, feminist garbage in it. Like, fuck them. Like, it's more annoying, I think, with that, because they aren't creating their own thing. They're changing somebody else's work, because all they're doing is dubbing. They're literally just reading a script over something they didn't write, they didn't animate, they didn't create the characters. All they're doing is reading, oh, this is what this character said, okay, I'll say it. I mean, the fact that somebody is rewriting somebody else's work for political reasons like that, I think is absolutely garbage. And, like, I wish I could be a writer. I don't think I have I don't think I have enough skill. I really wish I could. But, like, I always like the idea, especially of, like, creating something that other people would enjoy, a story, get immersed in a world of these characters and stuff. And, like, the idea of somebody being like, hey, look, let me change somebody else's work that they created, that they worked hard on for political reasons. And it's like, you're fucking garbage, dude. Fuck you. Make your own. You have no right to alter somebody else's creation like that. Like, yeah, absolutely trash. Jamie Marchi is hot garbage. Fuck that bitch. I'm hoping that she is, after all this, that she is no longer working in anime at all. She can go be a barista or some shit. I don't want her around. Like, there's a difference between, like, being SJW and being straight up, like, thinking that your idea for something somebody else made is better for political reasons. Again, I just think it's absolutely stupid, and I can't stand her for doing that. Do you think the devil is going to do some more dimensional spells in the next chapter, Black Clover? I think that once the Wizard King shows up, he's going to be way more serious, because he didn't use any spells out of the Grimoire until now. He was only using straight, direct spells. And we know already in Black Clover that you can use magic without a grimoire, but a grimoire by itself makes you way more powerful. And he's only used like one spell this entire time out of a grimoire. And I just see, like, once the first Wizard King shows up to fight him, he's going to be pulling out more horrific monsters. And it's going to be really cool, because the thing about this one that we've seen is we haven't seen a lot of creatures within Tabata's design. There was, like, the magma monster back in that training arc at the volcanic hot springs. We saw the big mud kind of like abomination in the cave arc that dude became after Sally injected him with that substance. But we haven't really seen a lot of, like, horrific creatures in Black Clover. I mean, we've seen, like, you can throw a rock at a shonen and see, like, okay, this is, like, the kind of monsters that this author designs. But we hadn't seen anything really till recently of Tabata, and I think that's really cool that we're going to hopefully see a couple more, and just to see where exactly his mind goes for, like, creepy horror creatures. Because I really like the one we got right now. It looks like this kind of, like, slug leech creature, and I already talked about it's already spooky looking.
the fact that he added that like very very small detail, just tiny addition of like how it has those like gooey looking tendrils connecting to the ceiling, I think makes it look way more horrific. And the fact that it looks like it's been nesting in there. Like if you were in a video game and you wandered into a room in a dungeon, it's been like growing in this area to where it's like started to kind of like meld into the environment. I think that's definitely a really small but really cool addition, just kind of like increase everything about the creature. I really want to see more. I really want to see more of the monsters in general. If you don't know about me, I love seeing weird monster designs. Like I'll watch a movie purely for I'll watch a horror movie purely for crazy monster designs. Like I watched Hellboy, the new Hellboy, the R-rated one. It's not as bad as people are making out to be. There's definitely some like moments where you're like, God damn, the CGI is horrible. But I would watch that movie again just for this one part that has a bunch of really cool demons, and like that part alone made me so happy, just seeing like all these really cool, creepy looking designs, and it was just so awesome. And I love seeing monster designs in anything rather, and that's one of the reasons I'm really excited for upcoming Black Clover. Like it's gonna be so cool to see this dude just drop monsters left and right. Like I'm stoked because I don't even know what Tabata is gonna bring about. I didn't think it was gonna be like some weird slug leech abomination. Like it's so cool. Definitely looking forward more to that.
Definitely gonna be hyped up for the future.
Actually, just like side note, I just was thinking about that because I was thinking about different authors like style for monsters, and it led me to remember something recently. I was looking at some light novel stuff because like a lot of the series like light novels don't get official translations in English, and I was looking at the one with Fairy Tale where it has like Levi and Gadgel's kids do like a time travel thing, and that's where we found out about them before they're even born, and before we saw pretty much what they're going to look like in the scene where it was Gadget thought he was going to die. And there's like a villain of that part, and he like brings a skeleton of a dragon back to life. I didn't look at it again until recently. I realized it was Zirconia's what's his name? Zirconia, the Emerald Dragon from that we saw in the Grand Magic games. It was actually his skeleton. I didn't realize that until recently, and I was like, oh shit, some nice little extra thing in there. I'm wondering if in the novel they noticed that, because obviously I haven't been able to read any of the novels because there's no official English translation for them. Let's see, where was I? I got really distracted on that monster one. See, as I said, like I could go off on like cool monster designs all day, and that was like a 5-minute rant on them. Who do you think is the true king of arrogance, Kaiba or Escanor? Kaiba. If you don't know anything about Kaiba, in Dark Side of Dimensions, there's an object called the Plana, and it's like this. It says, I won't ruin much of the movie for if you haven't seen it, but it's this ancient Egyptian artifact, and it will let you can pretty much reforge the universe with it and like erase people from existence. And Kaiba's ego like overpowered it, and like that's far beyond anything Escanor has done. If your ego is so powerful that like some dude's ancient Egyptian artifact capable of molding universes just like had no effect of goddamn that boss Kaiba. Do you think Asta is gonna get a 4th sword? Yes. So if you look at the scene, where the Witch Queen mentions the swords, you can see Licht holding on to 2 swords. You know, it's the demon beheading sword and the demon dweller sword, and then behind him, there's 3 objects that look like they're sticky in the ground. And so I assume that there's going to be 5 swords. And from that is going to be, a reference, 5 Cloverleafs, 5 swords. We've seen 3 so far. I feel like Asta will eventually also get a 6th one, and maybe we'll like get a 6th leaf to his clover, kind of like some main character thing that he does. And I think that would be really cool also, like late into the series, like deep after using these swords for a long time, and the whole time he's still been using it, but they weren't originally made for him, and just get his own custom one, kind of like in Rave Master when Haru got reveled. It's just really cool, especially like how happy, like just remembering how happy Haru was to get like a custom sword just for him, and seeing that with Asta would probably be really cool.
Rebecca can use Ether Gear to power up her Happy Blasters. I think she's going to get more weapon versions, like maybe a rifle or a shotgun or a flamethrower.
Like I'm wondering if, especially like a sniper rifle, that'd be also be really cool. I feel like hers is going to be more of different weapons than just like than just getting like buffed weapons. I think that'd be a lot cooler, and that it add more towards like her whole style of being, you know, a marksman rather than anything. It's like Wise. We've seen Wise use guns, but Wise is more of like an all-around like versatility guy with machines in general. Because it's not like he can just make guns; he can also alter robots and stuff, and like ships and turrets, and do all these really cool things with machines.
Let's see. If Green Praying Mantis is explored more, Jack and Seki would be in the center. Also, Seki is bronze magic. Yeah, Seki's bronze magic. I like Seki. I think his magic is cool. He's not that bad of a character. He's just kind of annoying, and he's kind of a dick. But he doesn't come off as evil. He doesn't come off as like a bad guy. He just comes off as a dick, and he can definitely be redeemed. And again, his magic is good. He does have a good magic. How good of a king do you think Zeref was? He created an empire that people really seemed to love him.
Well, Zeref was very good at that. Zeref, I mean, it was over. We don't know when exactly he created Alvarez, but we do know it was before Mavis created Fairy Tail. So it was, over 120 years ago, probably like 200 plus years. And obviously, like he was very revered by his people. They were very they had a very thriving continent. And clearly, like you didn't hear anything bad about them. There was no like secret underside to the Alvarez where they had like tons of people were suffering, so like the people in the capital could do better. One of those kind of stories. Like everyone seems really happy in Alvarez, and like all the Spriggan 12 members really liked him. I really like that contrast because if you look at something like Bleach, like look at the Espada, like none of them trusted Aizen. They all kind of like respected him, but none of them trusted him. They all seemed like they all seemed like they would have turned on him if given the chance. And they only followed him because he was really powerful. Like every single member of the Spriggan 12 really did love Zeref and really believed in him and everything about him. And that's what I really liked about the Spriggan 12 especially is there were some of them that didn't really have much to their character. They didn't really get a lot of backstory. Maybe they'll get some in the future. Or they didn't have really cool fights or character pieces. But all of them had really cool kind of like views on Zeref. And like even someone like Brandish, who we already know she's very lazy. She doesn't like to do hard work. And she's just like, no, if it's for Zeref, then if it's for Zeref, then I'll get off my ass and do stuff. I'll do stuff for the Emperor. And like, even like, there were so many signs throughout the series where people assumed that Brandish was going to switch sides, and she never did. She never betrayed Alvarez. She never betrayed Zeref. She always stayed with them, and I always thought that was really cool.
Definitely really liked Zeref. Zeref was one of my favorite shonen villains for sure.
No, there was no signs.
I read ahead and saw plasma guns. There were no signs where anybody really like served Zeref out of fear. Like they all seemed to really love Zeref. Like August had his own reason. Like I don't remember any character being like I only follow Zeref because like X reasons. Like they all seemed to really like him. They all had a lot of respect for him. Like Alvarez just seemed like a really good place to be. Like I wish that Hiroshima explored more of Alvarez and kind of like showed off more of it and just showed more off of like Zeref. Because the thing about Zeref is Zeref really wanted to do good. He really wanted better things for people and like humanity, but obviously his curse fucked with his head, and he had obviously his grand scheme of things, his whole goal to pretty much undo everything. There's so many things in the Neo clips I could talk about of Zeref, of like him wanting to do good for people, but also wanting to obviously undo his own mistakes, his own past, live a better life for him. There was a selfish aspect in there too. And I've talked about it before. I'm going to do my Zeref video soon. I'm going to do it in 5 parts because obviously if you've watched my Natsu one, it's almost an hour long. It's really long. And I wanted to split up my Zeref one where it's not as long, but I didn't want it to make it sound like you had to watch 5 videos all together, and make it more like a continuation of more of like if you were reading parts of an essay rather than like chops of a video.
and I'm gonna do it in 5 parts. I'm gonna do it, try and keep each of them like 10 minutes. I'm gonna do one on like his influence, his backstory, his inspiration. Like, you know, obviously, like I won't go into it now, but there's a lot of similarities between Griffith and Zeref. And if you know, Hiromishima's favorite manga is Berserk, and I think he took a lot of inspiration from Griffith, and you know, twisted a lot of aspects of him around to make parts of Zeref. Again, I'll go into that in the video because that's the first one I'm gonna do is inspiration. I'm gonna inspiration, backstory, influence, goals and accomplishment, goals/accomplishments, and contrast the main character, because there's also a lot of things that like he kind of like has this opposite stance than Natsu, and there's a lot of really interesting things about Zeref that I want to talk about, and I'm gonna try and do. I want to get the first one out this weekend or next weekend. I want to do it this weekend, but I figured I'd kind of like get it more set up to what I'm gonna do. I have everything ready. Like I wrote a lot of stuff down. I've thought about it a lot. I just need to get like the panels and stuff and actually record the videos. I'm gonna do it in 5 parts, and I'll probably do one each week. So look forward to that. Like legitimately, I think Zeref is one of the best villains in shonen. Like he's one of my favorite manga villains, and obviously I'm not gonna be like he's the best ever. There's obviously like a lot of heavy opinion influences in that, but there's definitely some parts of Zeref I don't think a lot of people noticed that really just make him stand out. Because a lot of people just think, oh, he's like some emo, edgy guy, but it's like you clearly didn't pay attention to the story. There's a lot about Zeref that I'm gonna really go over, and stuff that I don't think a lot of people paid attention to. And it's not an insult towards people, as I don't think a lot of people like were going into like as heavy like notice of certain details that I went back on, because I liked Zeref enough, and then I went back, noticed way more things, and then just continuously learned more about him as I reread and took aspects of like spin-offs and other characters that were doing things for Zeref. So look forward to that soon. I think Yami is going to have a magic item type arm if he permanently loses it due to the devil. Maybe. I think he's going to get his his own sword soon, because his sword that he has right now, it's literally just a sword. It's just a normal sword that he's putting magic in. We remember that from like, he talks about how he bought it, or he bought it, but he had it custom made. So it's literally just a katana. Like he could easily get a magic sword or a magic item, maybe a magic handle that he gets the blade made out of, or a magic chunk of steel he has forged. Like what if he found a chunk of metal, right? He found a chunk of metal, and he like eventually in the series, like after meeting dwarves and meeting going back to like the land of the sun, he like gets craftsmen from the dwarves, because obviously dwarves are like almost always like really good craftsmen in whatever fiction they're in, and obviously so are the Japanese in real life. Like the way that Japanese made swords and stuff is there are very few throughout history that could rival them, and you know, you combine the two and from the series, you could probably get Yami some like super badass katana, and maybe not even katana. What is it? An odaichi, I think, is the really long katana. Maybe like, what if he got a handle? Like, could you imagine like a handle, and kind of like, and then it like let him store magic in it or spells, and then like he had just like a raw like darkness sword, but it was like way longer than a normal one. Like we see some of his attacks, he's got like a Sephiroth style shadow blade he's just carrying around all over the place. That'd be fucking super cool. Might be able to get something really crazy like that soon. Definitely want to know more about that, because like I think the fact that Yami only has a plain sword right now, it opens up for him to get a logical like increase in strength just by getting a magic sword, or just getting a custom katana. Do you think there was any female magic emperors in the past? I mean, there was, I always get if it's 26 or 28 Wizard Kings. I think it was 28. I think there's definitely some chicks in there. I mean, Tabata definitely makes some super badass chicks in Black Clover, so I think there's definitely a couple chicks down the line. Do you think it's a little surprised that Georg doesn't know who Fairy Tail? See, I called it George in that video, and then I realized it's pronounced Georg. So now I'm messing up. That's why I thought maybe like a mineral dragon, because Geo. But we don't know. Didn't know Fairy Tail is when they beat Zeref and Akon Lugia, who are really well known. I mean, they aren't that well known because, like, the people of Alvarez or people of Alacatesia and Alvarez didn't know about Zeref because Zeref was really known on Ishgar, and Acnologia is not that well known because, like, it seemed like only a handful of people really knew who he was beforehand. Like, Makarov knew about him. Obviously, the people in Alvarez knew about him. But, like, you never heard about him before that. And, like, a lot of dragons are mysterious. Like, there was information on him, but it didn't seem like it was as, like, widely set out for everybody. And a lot of the continents are... a lot of the continents in Fairy Tail don't seem to really communicate with each other. Like, it doesn't seem like a lot of them really pass. And it's not like today's world or, like, you know, the internet, you know, everything that's going on. It seems like really the continents are closed off, and then the countries themselves are further closed off, and you don't know what's going along a lot of the time. Like, it doesn't surprise me that they haven't heard about them. Like, it would really depend on, like, are you if you're not getting Weekly Sorcerer, how are you going to know about Fairy Tail? Because, like, they're famous on Ishgal, where, like, you know, they're obviously infamous within a lot of things, but I don't feel like, especially over in, like, Giltina, because Giltina seems like really they're isolated, like, not only in their continent or their region, but it seems like they're really isolated in their own town, like, whatever their city structure is. They don't have a lot going out of there, because it doesn't look like they have anything like Ishgar has, like, they have, like, Weekly Sorcerer, they have the Magic Council, and, you know, they have all this kind of things that kind of, like, connect a lot of places. It doesn't seem like that in Giltina, so it's like, it's not surprising that they haven't heard of Fairy Tail. I mean, it'd be different if it was like if they were all connected, like they had something like the internet. They have this worldwide information network. It's kind of like what I just talked about. Acnologia not knowing about the Dragon Gods. It really isn't that, like, of a shocker, because, like, the only way you would have really known about the Dragon Gods, like, he would have only known if he actually physically met them or knew of them. It seems like he had his suspicions, but we only know that he could find dragons because of his sense of smell. We don't know his range of sense of smell is. You can easily hide your sense of smell. I mean, Irene was able to mask her scent enough that he was only suspicious, but he didn't know for a fact. And, like, the fact that he cut himself off from society, like, literally, if Acnologia didn't cut himself off from other people, he literally could have been like, what's this 100 Years quest thing? Go meet Eleftheria, learn about the quest, probably kill Eleftheria in the process, and then go hunt down the Dragon Gods. Because the dude definitely seemed like he didn't interact with anybody, like, after he just, like, I don't want to deal with anything anymore. And just kind of, like, went off to go live in the goddamn woods and shit. I think that's definitely something that screwed Acnologia over heavy, is his own kind of, like, way he saw himself and the way he saw humans and dragons, and how he didn't want to bother with them really anymore. My cat keeps refreshing the page every time I scroll up to read the comments, because she likes to sleep against the goddamn keyboard itself. Anyway, where was I? I read let me read. Oh my god, I'm so far behind. Here we go. Do you think Marco is going to join the Black Bulls in the future? Maybe. I'm wondering what's going to happen with him. He has potential. I mean, he's one of those characters you don't need to ever do anything with again, but it'd be nice to see you do something with him again. You'd have to do a time skip though. If you had to pick, who would you rather be between Natsu, Asta, Deku, Yuno, Sinbad, and Yugi? Oh, I'd rather be Natsu. Natsu's like my favorite shonen main character. Definitely. It would definitely be between Natsu and Yugi, but I'd pick Natsu just because, like, I feel like there's more to do. Like, Yugi's OP as fuck. Like, the dude is top dog still in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, when you're on your top dog at that point, it's just like you're never gonna run into, like, you seem like your journey at that point is just like running into whatever big bad guys and just being like, bitch, you know who the hell I am? Like, having to give them the stomp. I hope he joins Asta's squad. Yeah, it'd be really cool if he did. Do you think Magna's next power-up will be? Oh, I hope he gets more, like, really cool, like a new fireball. Because I really like how he himself, he doesn't have really any hacks, spells. He doesn't have any, like, really weird, unfair magics. And he, like, doesn't have any, like, super attacks. Like, so far Magna's entirely been, like, strategy with, like, mixing up his hacks, is really not hacks, is versatile fireballs instead, because he's got the invisible ones. He's got the ones that just are normal fireballs that detonate upon impact. He's got ones that he can detonate himself. Definitely really cool. Definitely really cool to see that kind of go out. I want more of like really interesting ones for him. Like maybe like ones that he can throw out and they run into other ones and enhance them, like to enhance the power of other ones. Or maybe like one that he can like throw it into an area and then it like makes an area like a mine and then he can blow it up afterwards. That'd be really cool. Kind of like layering into it. I don't know. There's stuff that he could definitely get further along that would be be really cool to just add to his character without altering it in some really big way. Cheeky, always cheeky. Full custom hot dog. How's it going, dude? Hot dog. Did you ever read Chainsaw Man, dude? What the hell? Do you think Shiki could learn about what happened to the robots as a means of character development? I mean, yeah, Shiki. I mean, it'd be. I don't think it would be that heavy on him because for him it would just be like, man, that's a horrible event. Like it would have to be like, it would have to meet back with that professor with Hermit and then like see him like bring up pain for again and then see like a good Shiki moment where he's like processing. It's like how pissed off he is at it. I don't think if he just read about it in a book, he'd probably be mad and sad at the same time. But I don't think it would be like a big jump for him. It would have to be a much heavier moment. I hate Captain Marvel. She comes off as a bitch. Yeah, I don't like her. I think she's annoying because she doesn't come off as like, she's not like, oh, I'm arrogant. I'm the super like strong-headed jerk, but I'm likable in X, Y, and Z ways. She just seems like a dick. I don't like Captain Marvel. I haven't liked the way that she's been. I think it's been like 2014 that they completely altered her character into just being this complete and total asshole. I haven't liked her. I don't think I'll ever like her again until they fix her. Rabbit Ferret taped to stick is nice on Brie Larson. Yeah, I don't like Brie Larson. Trash. How many episodes or chapters do you think will it take Boruto to get to become an adult and have a fight against Kawaki? It'll be a while. I think that I don't remember the guy who does Boruto. I don't remember his name, but I think he said he was planning at least 100 chapters for Boruto, something like that. We'll probably We'll probably get something soon, because now we're getting towards like Kawaki is starting to kind of come around and people are starting to like him, and Boruto's kind of seeming like a dick. I'm wondering when we're gonna get to like a big Kawaki becomes a killer moment. It's gonna be within the time skip soon. Do you like the Rising of the Shield Hero? I haven't read or watched Bungo Stray Dogs, but I've read Shield Hero, but the anime is ahead of where I read up to. Like when I read the manga, it was just that like it just had introduced. It was just the part where I think he's the Pope or some religious guy, and they fought him, and then they had Melty on their team. It was like right after that. I don't remember the exact scene, but that's where I was when I left off. I don't know if I know they've introduced Melty in the anime, but I gotta get caught up to it eventually. I've just been a little lazy with a lot of stuff recently, but I need to. I really want to get caught up on this stuff. It's like usually I slack on stuff and then I catch up later. I'm like, why did it take so goddamn long? Like I recently caught up on Made in Abyss, and I feel like at the same time it was such a nice place to catch up to with like how sad the last chapter was. Like Jesus, if anybody else read it, knows like the most recent chapter was depressing. The Black Widow actress seems to be okay with Brie Larson. They were laughing together on the Ellen talk show. Well, that's because they were on TV, but she I don't know. I mean, like, she's been in so many movies, and then Brie Larson, like, becomes the new Face character, gets her own movie, and, like, oh, it's the first big female Marvel character. And it's like, no, all these other characters existed, and there's so many other female superheroes that are so much better than stupid Captain Marvel. And they make her look like a dude. Like, I don't know why they gave her that stupid haircut. So goofy. Let's see. Asta, Deku, Boruto, Shiki. Which one is the most potential? I'd say it's between. I think Asta and Shiki, just like how much like their story is like expanding out. Like Deku's Deku's cool, but I feel like we know where he's going. We know he's going to end up very similar to All Might, and I don't think Horikoshi wants to make the story as long as something like Naruto or Bleach or any of these other big ones. Like Tabata says like he's fine with going that far, and you can tell he plans far ahead, so like he could easily go that far, and like we've only seen stuff in one country and like really only one conflict, just with all these different aspects to it between the humans and the elves. You know, we obviously got a little bit with the witches and the Diamond Kingdom, but there's so much we could do further, and it still could we could do a whole arc just on the Diamond Kingdom, the whole arc just on the Heart Kingdom, whole arc just on the Spade Kingdom, and get like 30, 40, 50 chapters out of each of them. And then it's like, okay, what are we going to do? Okay, we still have the Land of the Sun. We still have other continents. We still have the dwarves. We have any other magical creatures they want to bring in they can still do stuff with. I feel like and then obviously Eden Zero being space and like going around different planets all the time and stuff. I feel like they have more potential just because their series looks like it gets spread out more. And like there's more for the characters to go through. I mean, it's not bad on Deku or anything. I just feel like we know where Deku's going, and we know, doesn't he start out in the first chapter and say he becomes like, this is just how he became the greatest hero in the world or something. So it's like, it's more like the journey there, and even though we know where it's leading, it's more about seeing all the aspects that, you know, takes him along there. Whereas we don't know exactly, other than like eventually Wizard King for Asta, but becoming Wizard King doesn't mean that's the end of the story. And we don't even know what really is coming in for Shiki. And Shiki's so much weirder than like the thing is, like, legitimately, if you just looked at people trying to be like, oh, Haru, Natsu, and Shiki are the same character. But if you've actually read like Rave Master, Fairy Tail, and Eden Zero, Haru, Shiki, and Natsu are, outside of like normal like shonen, like it's not even really like normal shonen stuff. It's just like enjoying like your friends, like they cherish their friends. Outside of that, they're very different. And like, yeah, I don't know. Like we don't know really where Shiki could go, and Shiki's just such a strange character already. Like he could go down so many different paths. Yeah, screw Funimation. Yeah, I don't like Funimation. Funimation sucks. Do you think Gray is gonna have a good backstory in Black Clover? Yeah, I think we'll get some good stuff. I feel like Gray's backstory is going to be more about like her mindset rather than like some like deeper sad story, because it definitely seems more of like her, because Gordon's is more of like how people saw him. What was it? Because he had such a weird magic and he became like super awkward over it. And Gray just seems like she was shy and very nervous in general. Whereas I don't know. I feel like her backstory won't be as deeply sad. But it'll be more of like seeing into the way that she thinks, seeing into like her mindset and like how she's overcoming like any like deeper aspects that she's kind of like looked at. Yeah, I don't like Funimation. Just fuck Funimation. You think the other Dragon Gods and Toka are gonna lead to a power creep or no? I mean, they definitely. What do you mean? They already like Mercephobia. Mercephobia. If you've seen like the landmass of like where Almina is, it's like in this. It's closed in. I think it's called a wharf or something like that. The way that it is, it's like there's two like land masses that kind of like creep up, and there's this like very small way that you go into it. And his influence of like water, like how much water he controls, has to at least be far enough and heavy enough that he can pull in water from like because we know at night he like because he doesn't have his restrictive abilities. He's pulling in like hundreds of feet like tall of water across this entire area towards. If you look at like how much size, it's like more than 1,000 miles, and he ripped all that out of the water or off the ground and into the air in like a split second. Like they've already done crazy stuff, and it's only gonna get crazier. And that was at half power. So like, I mean, we already got Ignia, who like vaporized all that water, who has destroyed multiple countries. We're gonna get a goddamn moon dragon. There's gonna be a bunch of crazy stuff we're gonna see, because like hiccup there. Sorry, Acnologi is obviously super powerful, but we never got to see like a lot of his big heavy stuff, and I think a lot of it's because like the anime, like everything before like the actual fight with him was more of him just being like casual as hell. But I think that obviously we're supposed to probably get a lot of crazy stuff in that last couple chapters, but Definitely felt like it was getting rushed there at the end. I think that hurt our chances. But we know he's comparable to these guys, so we're gonna see hopefully some big crazy stuff that anything they do, he should also be able to kind of like output, especially like Ravines of Time Acnologia, the space between time boost that he got. Definitely want to see more boosts with that too. Yeah, screw Funimation. Screw Funimation sucks. Yep. Glad they're getting sued. Yeah, they shouldn't have done what they did. They're fucking up. Do you think Luffy will get a 5th gear? Also, do you watch the anime Warbite? I've watched a couple of them. I got really annoyed by that guy. So I'm not gonna like say like, I don't want to come off as seeming like I'm insulting the guy. I don't think that at all. Obviously, he's found what works for him. He's got a lot of fans. He works hard in his animations and his videos. So he can do what he wants. I've watched most of them. I got really annoyed because when you watch him, it's pretty much a crossover. It's just a big crossover, and the thing about big crossovers is you don't think about power levels at all, because really the crossovers, what you want of them are interactions. You want to see this character who's from a completely different series as this other character interacting with each other, just to see what it'd be like if they met. And like, it really just seems like, for some reason, Saitama, and just like all the Dragon Ball characters really are the only powerful ones. And then Saitama, for some reason, when Saitama doesn't come close to Dragon Ball characters. And then you have like Luffy, Ichigo, Natsu. I don't think there's, I think that was pretty much it for the people brought in. They're pretty much just there. Like, they pretty much seem like they're there to get beat up. And it's like, why would you bring all these characters together if you're just going to have them pretty much be punching bags for these villains that you created? And then like the dude brought in an OC, and I kind of cringed a little bit at the OC, and like he had it just like all these other characters been like, the OC is so great, he's so powerful, he's amazing, and like he just like walked through all these other big characters that like all these main characters were like struggling with and couldn't do anything with. Again, the dude can do what he wants. There are people that like what he does. I'm not a fan about that. Also, dude brought in Acnologia just to kill him off instantly. Like, what the fuck, dude? You got like Kaido and shit in there. Kaido's cool design, but he's got like nothing. He doesn't look nearly as bad as Acnologia. Still, there's a little bit of salt there, but it's not like, it doesn't really matter. Obviously, none of it's canon. It's this own dude's fan fiction. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of his videos, but obviously there are people are, and I give him props for what he's accomplished. Where was I? Do you think Luffy will get... Oh yeah, I didn't answer that part. Luffy will get 5th gear? I think Luffy will get 5th gear when he unlocks Awakening. My prediction for this arc, for some reason... I don't know why Oda didn't give Awakening last arc. So Oda should have given Awakening last arc. Instead, he gave him the stupid advanced observation hockey. And now instead of giving him Awakening to go for his rematch with Kaido, he's giving him advanced armament hockey, which again is dumb because it's too convenient. He like learned... Because like Katakuri had advanced observation hockey. He was a hockey, like observation hockey specialist. He was an expert. He's like one of the only people that could see into the future with his level of hockey. And he's like, what, 46? He's like this. He was this undefeated guy, son of Big Mom, a pirate emperor, a sea emperor. Is that what they are? Emperors of the sea or whatever. I have the theory that Kaido is his dad, so if Kaido is his dad, that's an extra layer of OP-ness in just his existence. And Luffy manages to learn observation hockey about to his level mid-fight after getting trashed by him, like, casually, like, the whole time. I don't like... That fight is cool in a lot of, like, moments if you don't take the context into it, but there's so many times where Luffy should have been dead in that fight, because, like, not only that, Katakuri was introduced as like a ruthless, like straight to the point killer, and then he fought Luffy, and it's like, well, I'm gonna fuck around for a while, and I don't like that fight. I don't like thinking about it. Like, he got screwed over by Oda just to give Luffy a power up, and it's like he's like the only competent member of the Big Mom Pirates, and he got hurt just to enhance Luffy, and now Luffy conveniently has an old guy that he was nice to that's like, oh, you're trying to learn this advanced hockey. Guess what? I know how to use that advanced hockey. I can teach you literally while we're fighting all these no-name fodders. And Queen is so stupid. Like, Queen, why did he take the Sea Stone cuffs off Luffy? Why does he think that stupid collar is gonna do anything to him? Luffy can literally be like, oh, hockey, bam, the stupid neck, the stupid collar thing, the blades break, or Luffy literally could expand, snap it off. There's so many ways he can get out of that. Queen is an idiot, but like, he should have learned Awakening. I think when he gets Awakening, he'll be 5th gear. I think in this one, my theory is once he learns this advanced armament hockey, that he's going to create a new form for 4th gear, and it will be Tiger Man, because Oda is going very Japanese, like, symbolism and a lot of this, which is cool. I like that aspect about Wano. I haven't enjoyed the arc in a lot of ways, but I do like a lot of the Japanese, like, traditional Japanese things that he's put in there. Because one of the things about Oda that I think is cool is he's very into, like, Japanese, like, traditional stuff. Like, he's super into, like, kabuki shit. But I feel like with the fact that he's got a very Eastern Dragon design with Kaido, and I don't remember he's one of the guardians of, like, I don't remember what they're called, but one of them is like the obviously if you've watched Digimon Tamers, the 4 Digimon Sovereign were based off of the same thing. You have the dragon, the phoenix, the turtle, and the tiger, and Kaido's dragon form, the blue dragon, the Zeref dragon, is based off the same dragon that is Zulongmon, the big dragon from that whole from Digimon. Also, he was in O2, wasn't he? I remember that. He was briefly in Digimon O2 when was it Black War Greymon was looking for him because he wanted to fight him. But I don't want to get sidetracked to that. I'm just gonna rant about how awesome Digimon Tamers was. Digimon Tamers was the best Digimon. But I feel like the fact that Oda has this very Chinese or very Japanese, like, traditional dragon, that Luffy will have kind of like that whole, like, tiger versus dragon design you see all the time. I don't remember where that stems out of. I don't think I've ever looked into that. I just know that's an old thing. You have the dragon and the tiger. And I just feel like that'd be really cool for Luffy, Tiger Man, and he's got, like, these cool, like, I don't know. I don't know if he would still have the symbols because his hockey would be advanced enough that it's invisible. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like Tiger Man would be a really cool name for it, and then just, the obvious advancement of it going forward. We'll see. Again, I think 5th gear or maybe final gear will be whenever he unlocks Awakening. Why he doesn't have Awakening already, I don't know, because really, what I see, because, like, I've talked to people before about, a lot about what's left for One Piece. I don't think there's going to be an Elbaf arc. I don't know why people still think there's going to be an Elbaf arc. Obviously, Elbaf is a cool idea, and, like, the Giants have been hyped. The Giants have been hyped constantly in One Piece, but there's not been a giant that's lived up to their hype. You had, like, Oz, even though we only saw him as a corpse, but, like, he got beaten up by pre-time skip Straw Hats. You had Oz Jr., who was trashed by Doflamingo with no effort. John Giant got beat by 3rd gear Luffy, pre-time skip. Like, the Giants, I don't know why Oda hypes them all the time, because they never live up to the hype. But, like, then you have the two, already going into the idea of Elbaf, you have the 2 elder giants that Big Mom at, like, 7, like, trashed. And, like, what is there going to be in Elbaf? What is there going to be to go there for? And then there's, like, the idea that they're going to go to the moon. Why? There's, like, what is it? One Piece has, like, 7 or 8 moons or 9 moons. What? They're going to conveniently go to some moon and probably see a Nell. I feel like it would be so weird for one to go from Kaido, go back to sleep, you silly cat, to go from Kaido and Big Mom and Wano to being like, let's go to Elbaf, where there's nothing really to do there. I mean, what is there, one of the road glyphs or whatever they're called? I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's no real point to go there. And then going to the moon, I think, would be such a weird change of pace that it's just like, there'd be no reason for it. Especially because in Reverie we know that, what is his name, Im or whatever, the weird guy that all the celestial dragon, like, elders, like, were bowing to. There's no surprise. I mean, if there's some twist that it's not Luffy that he put out that kind of, like, execution on, I'll legitimately be shocked that it's not Luffy. But, like, if it's anybody in the Straw Hat Pirates, there's no reason for them to be like, let's go to the moon. If this dude is, if he's not the most powerful character in One Piece, he's at least the most influential. That he's literally pretty much king of kings in One Piece. If him saying go kill this guy doesn't instantly have fucking the whatever forces the Marines are gonna send at his level of orders, probably the admirals and everybody they fucking can, Buster calls and whatever. If there's enough time for the Straw Hats to go to the moon and back somehow, a whole arc there, I don't know how competent the Marines are, because it's just like this isn't them like, oh, I'm doing the paperwork for us to go after the Straw Hats finally, or because we're gonna take them by force. This is the guy that the Celestial Dragon elders kneel to and answer to. So like there should be no question, like whatever this character says go do is urgent as hell. I just feel like there's no chance for a moon arc. I don't see it in the schedule. I could be wrong, but I'm just putting that out there. I mean, I really see Wano, the final battle, like the big war with like all the different factions finally coming together and just a giant clash, and then finally a reverie, or Raftel arc where it will have Luffy's crew versus Shanks' crew, because I think that's logically the last battle in One Piece. I feel like that's the logical final clash of, because you not only have Shanks, but you also have Usopp, Usopp's dad. No, I mean, there's no really reason to get hyped other than it'd be like, oh, cool, dude's gonna fight his dad, and he's assumingly a really good marksman. So that'll be a cool aspect, but again, I feel like those two are the only arcs left in One Piece. I just don't really see anything left. How'd I ranted about that for a minute? Let me catch up. Monocle, J. Marchie, Mars Girl are horrible human beings. Yeah, they're all trash. Rax, I heard Tyrion from Game of Thrones in the current season is as good as he used to be. Is that true? I mean, he's fine. He's just not as heavy influenced, because his story is mostly done, and right now his story is aiding Daenerys take the throne back, which is cool. And you can't say like, oh, his character sucks now because he's not doing a whole lot. He's doing, like, where he's at now is where his entire character and his story led him up to. So, I mean, you can literally just think right now and think back of what got him there. That's his story. And a character doesn't need to be absurdly relevant doing stuff every 5 minutes. I mean, they're in the final arc. Right now, it's really going to be... and there hasn't really been anything for him yet this arc. I feel like the next couple episodes, he's going to have a lot more influence, and there's going to be some stuff with him. I won't go into spoilers. I think there's going to be more to him in the second half of the season than there is so far, because I don't think the series could end without him having at least one more like good character part. Got to head out soon. Good to catch your stream. Maybe catch up, play some Jump Force. Maybe that'd be good. Full custom. They're about to have the DLC soon. I want to play Kaiba. There's a couple DLC characters I actually am looking forward to. I'm definitely gonna get Kaiba, Grimmjow, and Bakugo, and then maybe Madara. There's maybe one of the other characters on some form of sale. Those are three I'm definitely getting: Bakugo, Kaiba, and Grimmjow. For sure, I'm getting those three. And I'm wondering if they'll give Grimmjow normal Grimmjow, or they'll give him his... Because if you haven't read the novels, apparently they gave him a second level release. And then they have it in Bleach Brave Souls, the video game. They have it in the official canon novel. And then they put it in the game if you want to look up what it looks like. It looks pretty cool. I feel both of them would be fine. Like I just like Grimmjow. I'm hoping he does that. He has that Grand Ray Sero. I guess that'd be like him in his Awakened, because he'd have like Sero, and then Awakened he would have Grand Ray Sero, because his ult is definitely going to be this Garon. Yeah, pop that out, because it is his ultimate technique. I mean, he literally says, this is my ultimate technique. Jump Force is trash. The gameplay is fine. The game shouldn't have they shouldn't have wasted time with the story mode like they did. It literally should have just been voice acted, and they're like stills of the characters, like pictures of them, and they're talking. They shouldn't have done the cutscenes. They shouldn't have done character creation, because they wasted time with character creation, and they didn't even have that many things that you could use for character creation. Like, if they were going to have character creation, they should have had tons more items. Like, they have Bleach in there, and you can have swords on your back. And the fact that you can't use the swords you have on your back is an extra reason of, one, they either should have made it so if you're using sword techniques, you should be using whatever sword you have equipped, or they should have had tons more swords. Because you literally could throw in every single Bleach sword, not worry about it, because it's just like, oh, you're not going to use it. It's literally just going to be on your character for design. So, okay, then what's the problem with having a shit ton of swords? Because then you could just have a ton of extra things to make your character unique looking. The fact they did character creation, which I wish they didn't, but they had so few things to put on your character is stupid. Like, that part was disappointing. I wish that they didn't do that and they just focused on putting tons more characters in. Because, like, the gameplay is fine. The only time I get angry at the game is, like, some people will play OCs and then, like, because, like, how broken they combo them up together, like, you can't even play back and it's just like you get juggled. But for the most part, I think the game is fun. I have a good time playing it. Most of the time, not all the time. Yu-Gi-Oh! Rate faces versus Bad Touch rate face. Yu-Gi-Oh! Some pretty spooky ass faces. Favorite Game of Thrones season? I'd have to rewatch them to answer that one. And I don't want to say anything that might spoil. Natsu versus Super Saiyan 2 Goku? Well, Goku blow up the planet. The only thing Natsu has that would fuck with Goku is his fire that can burn time, but like Goku is too fast for him, and Goku can one-shot him in so many different ways. Natsu has hacks over Goku, but that's it. And it's not like he can use it constantly. Anytime he's ever used it, it's fucked up his arms. Rax Escanor would be like Kaiba. Who decided that? I mean, Escanor would get bodied by Kaiba. Don't mess with Kaiba. Kaiba will fuck him up. Hancock is she's all right. She's Don't forget about the creature in Lear's paintings. Oh yeah, Jesus. I gotta open a clip to look at that real quick. Oh yeah, I like that one. Well, those ones are, we don't know if that's like magical creatures somewhere out in the Black Clover world or if that's just paintings. Like, it could literally just be something they thought of versus something that actually exists out in the world. I think Escanor is steamrolling through half the commandments, ruined tension. Yeah, definitely, because most of the fact that you had 10 commandments, the thing about like the Spriggan 12 that I really liked versus the 10 commandments is you had ones that were beaten individually, and you had, Laxus, Natsu, Jalal. You had characters in Guild Arts. You had characters that could fight. Well, Guild Arts only fought God Serena 1v1. But you had characters that logically could fight them 1v1, and you had the same thing with the 10 commandments. So obviously Meliodas, Escanor, not King. I'm the buffed up King. But, Meliodas and Escanor. And all the other ones should have been team fights. But it was like almost all of them were beaten by Escanor and Meliodas. And then Merlin. I can't stand Merlin. I hate Merlin. There should have been way more team fights. Like, a lot of the Holy Knights became irrelevant as hell after part 1. It wasn't even like, hey, we're good support. It's just like, we don't matter. It was dumb. If Eden Zero was like Star Wars, would you think Shiki would be Luke, Rebecca would be Leia, and Wise would be Han Solo? I can see a little bit of similarities, but I mean, as long as it doesn't lead into the stupid Disney Star Wars. Can you explain Aknologi's ability after eating the remains of time? What he can do? I mean, he still had all his normal dragon slaying abilities, but he had time manipulation. He all around just was a fucking beast. We didn't get to see as much as I would have liked. I mean, we didn't even get a name technique from him. But I'm hoping the anime fixes that, because I don't want to go into detail, and because I'm going to do that for a video at some point. And I feel like it was rushed. I think that because Hiromashima he says he has actually his whole backstory written out, but for some reason it didn't go on the manga. But I believe it's going to be in the anime. From there was an interview at a con where he talked about it a little bit, and I'm hoping we at least get like 1 or 2 techniques from him. Up and coming. I just want to see some names. Like, the only thing I thought was really cool about Aknologi that kind of like stood out is you can see a lot of his attacks look more claw-like. Like, even like there's a part when he hits because you see a lot of when he goes to attack people, he doesn't have a fist. He has like his hand in this claw notion, and there's a part where he hits Cobra, and the force going out of him looks like a claw, which I think is really cool. It just adds that small extra thing to him. I want to see more about what he can do. So the only thing we really know is just raw magic eating. He's immune to practically any magic. I mean, the only thing that ever really fucked him up was like face, but that's because he overall was a dragon slayer. He wasn't a true dragon. I have a question. Is there a part in anime where you can't stop playing well? I have 3 Asta and Black Bulls. Like, oh, dude, there's tons of parts that I have to watch them all. Like, there's tons of scenes where I have to watch them all the time. Like any big sick fight scene.
just that conclusion point. Zeref was one of my favorite villains too. Yeah, I love Zeref. Do you think the Witch Queen is currently in control of the Diamond Kingdom's king? No, I don't. I think she would have to be a different kingdom, because we already know that the Diamond Kingdom already has its own problems. I don't want the Witch Queen to be involved. I want to see more of like the, because you know the scientist dude is the one doing all the shit in that Diamond Kingdom. I think I already read that one. I don't think Gunstring was cared for Zeref. He only joined to fight Acmalogia. Well, we didn't really find anything about him. We never found too much about. We never found anything really about Godstring other than that he wanted to fight Acmalogia. We never really even heard about why he followed Zeref otherwise. But we do know from the small interaction that we had before when they were kind of just like had that meeting with half of them, that he definitely had respects for Zeref, and he never came off as anybody that had any form of like negativity for him. Let's see. Do you think that Broken Norse mythology is going to be real? I wouldn't mind it. Potentially. Do you think who is more loyal to Zeref, Tartarus or Spriggan 12?
I mean, they're both loyal to him, but they just both were in different ways. I mean, that's what I like about Zeref is there's a lot about. I'll say that for the video. Like, there's a lot about what I want to talk about Zeref, but I don't want to go too long. Just kind of rambling. Do you think Asta's mom is a different race? No. And I talked about this. I don't want Asta to be any form of like descendant of anybody special, of some like half breed. I really want Asta to stay as just this. I just want him to stay as this nobody that somehow caught a bad rap, and he had no magic, and he just worked hard, and he became at where he is now through hard work, effort, having good friends, having, not giving up and just progressing the way he did. Because that was one of the things about Naruto that was really good, and then Naruto ended up being some child of a prophecy, where it was just like, well, there goes a lot of the series theme out the window. I mean, I really hope that this doesn't happen. What's up, Just Darius? Is this Naruto 2 live streams? It's really this live stream. If you're still here, I don't know. I don't know how long ago that you posted this. It's really whatever questions you want to ask. You can ask relatively any anime or manga question that you think you'd like me to answer. There's obviously overall themes, like you just look at the title in the background, but you can just ask me, I'll answer. It's moreover a discussion, with anybody that is interested that may like my videos, is already subscribed, that comes here often, or maybe is interested, want to ask me just some Q&As, want to hear my take on things, maybe hear about some upcoming videos that I might do. It's more again like a community discussion stream. Choose any Spriggan protagonist to fight Aizen counteracts Shikai. Wait, what? Choose any shonen. I don't know why I read that as Spriggan that can fight Aizen and counteract Shikai. I mean, it'd have to be somebody that can somehow not be affected by full sense manipulation, or just absurdly more powerful than him. Someone like Yugi, where it just wouldn't even work, wouldn't even deal with it at all. One second. Back to it. Who's faster, Luck or Black Aster? Yuno's definitely the fastest out of all of them, for sure. I mean, that's not definitely Like some of the stuff he said is crazy. If Charming ever overheard him saying he needs a new sword, and she says, "I make swords as a hobby," nobody really knows. Wait, who? If Charming? You mean Charmy? I'm a little confused on that one, King. You're gonna have to reword that. What's up, Andres? How's it going? If Urza was in Game of Thrones without magic, do you think she would side with Daenerys, Jon Snow, or Tyrion? I think she would side with Jon Snow. She definitely wouldn't side. I don't think she'd side with Daenerys because of the way that she kind of acts sometimes. Because like Jon is the most straightforward. He's very honest. Daenerys, I like Daenerys, but there's a couple times where she kind of comes off as like a bit of a bitch. Tyrion seems too kind of like goofy, and he would probably remind her in a couple ways of Ichiya. I feel like Jon Snow would be the one that Daenerys really kind of like would side up with. How far back am I in this dream? Oh God. 1 second. Wait, almost there. How would Natsu fare against Irene with Igneal's power? I'm pretty sure he would beat her.
Everything is rushed and confused. We got no explanations, descriptions, situations, places. The plot is weak, and there's no character development. I can keep bringing fairy tale to hoping to be better. That's not true at all, Sterling Archer. Did you watch my Natsu video? There's a ton of character development. Like, Natsu's character was developed in a lot of ways. It just wasn't in a way that altered, like, his overall personality. Because, like, I feel like unless the entire point is to alter the character significantly, someone like Deku or Eren from Attack on Titan, then like a character just pulling like a massive like alteration of how they've been like their whole life. Obviously Deku and Eren were different because when the series started they were both pretty young. I think Eren and Deku were both like 14, and Eren's like 19 now or something. But Natsu was like 18, 19 when the series started. He has a lot of development in like problem solving and like emotional expression, like his just thought process and like values in life. He has a lot of development that like normal people I think have, where they if you still talk to them, they'd still be like, you still have like the same aspects of you, but you've become wiser. And I really like that with Natsu. There's a lot of character development in Fairy Tail I don't think you'd notice without looking at specific things. Like just looking at, for instance, like Natsu before he had that skirmish with Gildarts, and afterwards, where in the instance of him fighting Aragorn, and Natsu's losing, he didn't know what to do, and he just pretty much threw a rage fit. He threw a tantrum. He was just pissed off, angry, and he just got frustrated and wouldn't even try and like think of a new strategy. Whereas afterwards, when he was losing for the second time actually against Future Rogue, he was like, I can't beat him the way I am now. I have to figure something out. I need to do something in order to overcome the current gap between us. And that's a really... I always thought that was a really good character development moment that I don't think a lot of people pay attention to. I did a video on Natsu. If you want to go listen to that, I go over a lot of character development moments with him and what caused them, and a lot of things that I think really show that his character... I'm not going to be like, he's the most developed main character ever. But he's definitely more developed than a lot of shonen main characters. And I think he doesn't get nearly as much credit as he deserves. If Black Clover and Fairy Tail did a crossover, would you expect character actions you'd want to see the most? I think Urza and Yami would be the most entertaining. Because I feel like they'd get into a fight pretty quickly. Just the way that Yami is, and then Urza wouldn't put up with him. Like, if he was a dick, Urza would just be like, oh, fucking yeah, you want to go? I mean, I don't even think there'd be, like, a threat like that. I think they should just get right into conflict. I think that'd be pretty entertaining, though. Which is greater, Therian or Eclipse One Artemis, Sacred Light of the Golden... well, Therian, because Therian isn't just energy, it distorts time and space when it's shot. You remember back when they originally described that it transcends space-time when it's shot. And it has the power to not just destroy a country, like its blast radius alone, like will completely engulf a country itself. And that's not even like a big deal in Fairy Tail anymore. What do you think that Sally's part will be after this arc? I can see her making bodies for the elves so they can end up getting out of the people they've possessed while still getting to be, existent, and then, hopefully moving towards peace between humans and the elves. You feel bad that Theon and Jaime Lannister, you feel bad for Theon and Jaime Lannister when they were tortured and treated like shit in previous seasons, like when Jaime got his hand cut off, they got fucked up by Ramsay. Jaime's was needed. I don't think Theon's was as needed, because Theon was a good guy. He just made some really shitty mistakes. I mean, I wouldn't say he's a good guy. I'd say he made a lot of stupid decisions. Jaime was more of a piece of shit, obviously. Because, like, Jaime didn't really seem to have any regrets for a lot of the things he did. Theon did bad stuff, but you could tell that he did it, like, very impulsively. He didn't like what he did, but he thought he had to do it. But they both definitely progressed really well. And Jaime, I hated Jaime at first, but I really like him now. And I always liked, other than some of those gray areas, I like Theon overall. I felt bad for him in a lot of areas. It's not about endgame, it's how you get there. Yeah, pretty much. Do you think that we'll see Mariella Fonzel and I don't know how to pronounce her name properly. Dominante in the Diamond Kingdom after this arc. Yeah, I hope so. I like Fonzo. I think he's cool. Do you think that? Wait, I read that. Do you think that Luffy's Devil Fruit Awakening going to work?
I think he'll make things rubbery around him, and then he'll be able to use that for like extra movements. Like, I really wanted like, I feel like it'll be like a Super Ball. Like that's what I wanted Luffy to be like more. I'm not a huge fan of like Bound Man. I wanted it to be more of like. That's what I'm hoping it goes with, like, Awakening Gear, is he becomes pretty much a Super Ball, where not only is he super fast, but just, like, he can use, like, that very, like, if you looked at someone, like, you could see, like, trajectory and just, like, kind of, like, gauge where he's gonna move to, like, after landing. But, like, all it would take is just, like, a slight change in, like, whatever impact spot, like, Luffy would hit on a building or the ground, if he's, like, pretty much like a Super Ball, and he would bounce, like, in a completely different direction, and it would just add like an extra layer of like deadliness to him. It's like a lot of what Oda's been doing recently has just been like, let me blow up my arms bigger, and then just hit him with the same attack. I don't really like Bound Man. I like Snake Man. I think it's more interesting. I think it looks cooler too. I haven't been a fan of Luffy since the time skip. I've talked about it a couple times. I haven't been too much of I haven't liked a lot of what Oda's been doing with the Straw Hat since then. Which anime opening are the best for you? My Hero Academia, Black Clover, Fairy Tail. Well, overall, Black Clover hasn't had a bad opening, but overall, obviously, I'm gonna pick Fairy Tail because some of theirs are just they have more ones that I like. Actually, I've really liked the 25, the most recent one. I really like that one. That one's definitely one of my favorites. My favorites for Fairy Tail are 3, 16, 21, and 25. And Black Clover, obviously the best Black Clover opening is 3. The only My Hero Academia opening I ever really liked, I don't think it has any bad ones. The only one I ever really liked was 4. It just sounds like a disco song. I just think that was cool about it. Black Clover, some great openings. They're doing really well. Yeah, that's like one of the things that Period is good at. Bloodman versus the Devil from Black Clover. I mean, the devil guy can't hit him, and he's still magic, so oh my god, there's so many translations of the name for the particles. I've seen, like, barrier particles, bane particles, ether nano particles, you know, what I'm talking about. That would pretty much kill him, because it would pretty much pollute, like, all the magic in his body, and he would be dead. I think Bloodmen would win, for sure, I believe. Actually, no, I'm very confident Bloodman win. Plus, he has Ice Demon Slaying, so that's even more. He would definitely win because he could counteract what he has too. Did you notice the Belle in the Wind Spirit kept aging as the story progressed, and she's like a baby when you found her. Yeah, she's probably proportionate to his magic. Zero Descaron has a power of like 10 Grace Arrows. Does he have Zero Descaron? I don't remember. I'd have to go back and check. I want to reread Bleach soon. Bleach is on my list of things I really want to reread within the next chunks of time. Do you think Tabata handles rivalries well? Yeah, Tabata is really good at rivalries. I think that's one of his best things he handles. Do you think Katakuru's fanboys are toxic? He said he's the best villain series. No, because he is. Well, their fans are toxic. I don't think he's the best villain because he made a lot of stupid decisions during his focus. The best villain in One Piece isn't even canon. It's definitely Zephyr, if you've watched One Piece Film Z. And I've seen a lot of people agree with that. Like, the dude was... I don't need to go into it right now, maybe for a different video, because I'm going to wrap this one up soon, but that dude had such a good story, he had a good battles, he had a good design, he had a good out, like, he had a good theme song. Everything about Zephyr was really cool. And it's a fucking shame that Oda made him non-canon. Put him in a non-canon movie. I think he, like, exists somewhere in the story, but, like, it doesn't matter if we don't know anything about him, about the canon version, because a lot of the big stuff that made people like him that didn't happen, and it probably won't happen. Also, do you think Tabata handles the power level? Tabata handles, so far he's been very consistent with power levels and power countering, sorry. I think Doflamingo is the best villain. I don't know. I didn't like Doflamingo after the time skip. I didn't really like Dressrosa. Zoro and Urza did meet. How do you think they interact? They'd probably fight, and Urza would body the shit out of him. Urza would destroy Zoro. Because you want an anti-magic potato. Wait, what? I don't know what that means.
Black War Grandma. Oh my god, this was a while ago. Ultra Instinct. Oh my god, I'm trying to read fast. Do you think Funimation kept... Would you get more Funimation Captain Marvel Crunchyroll? Probably Funimation. There's some dude yelling about Ultra Instinct. I can't put nothing past the bottom. Oh wait, I don't want to miss anything. Do you think do you think that the leaf juice Asta drinks is important? No, I don't think it will do anything. I'm really hoping that it doesn't have anything like later effects, like give Asta magic. I've heard people like made that theory he'll eventually get magic. I don't want that to ever happen. So ever since Diane lost her memories, her character has been hated on. Why? Is because she was really cool when she introduced, and she was very powerful, very competent. She was a good fighter, and then after Gauther messed with her head, she just became like annoying, and she just became a background character. Like, she was really powerful and cool and relevant when she first showed up, but then that just kind of stopped. And it was at that moment, because she just like ran around and got beat up and made dumb decisions. And like, what was the point of that giant chick that she ran into? Because like, all she did was teach her that like dance that makes her stronger the more she does it, but that didn't amount to anything because Diana didn't have any one-on-one fights after that. She never beat any of the commandments. Like, it didn't matter. I think Yami trains his squad in the same way he learned growing up. He tells them he does a lot of like dangerous limit break scenarios. How should Grimmjow interact with some other shonen characters? I mean, Grimmjow he'd want to fight anybody he thinks is respectable to fight with. And you think that Luffy being the 5th Emperor... Oh, he became the 5th Emperor, You think it's earned, or you think Morgan hyped him up? Oh, he's only an emperor out of misunderstandings, wasn't he? Like, they made a bunch of assumptions about Luffy, and that's why they saw him as the 5th Pirate Emperor, whatever they are, Sea Emperor. I'd have to go back and check. I believe it was done over, like, they assumed a bunch of stuff that made him seem bigger than he was. Do you think that Henry is actually broken? I believe if he draws out the battles long enough. I mean, yeah. That's the thing about Henry. Henry has a pretty good skill to him. You know, he can drain people by being around them. He's got pretty powerful magic. But he's frail. Like, legitimately, if you hit Henry, he's probably down. Like, Henry has not only... he's got a frail as hell body. And he only has so much magic. And he has to drain other people to use it. So I always thought Henry was kind of like a double-edged sword, but also a huge glass cannon. What's up, Tellum? How's it going? Well, I'm going to wrap up the stream in a few minutes. I saw you sent this like a half hour ago, and I'm catching up with comments. You ever seen Gigi no Kitaro? No, I haven't seen that. Akanogi is OP. True Bankai would merge with Hall. Ichi is probably one of the most powerful Bleach characters. Oh, yeah, his... Tensa Zangetsu. Yeah, his actual Zanpakuto. And then it's like, actually, that's trash. That was silly. Dragon of the Darkness Flames versus anyone. What was that? Isn't that Yu Yu Hakusho? New Berserk chapter is out. Did you read it? I did. I liked it. It was, I wish there was more. I need Berserk. Bye, have a good night. Have a good night, Joshua Light. JK Network, it'll be heard. Hell Ward is getting canceled. Is it really? JK Network, is it really getting canceled, or do you hear a rumor? How strong do you think Morris, the guy that did the experiments in Diamond Kingdom, is? I don't know. I don't know how strong he is. I'm hoping instead of him being powerful, he's gonna have a bunch of cool experiments. And I have a bunch of weird like creations and abominations he's made. I want that more than he's straight up powerful. Unless he made himself into an experiment. He has one of those moments, and then that's when he gets like he himself wasn't strong, but he fucked with himself and made himself into pretty much a monster in order to surpass his limits and shit. Since Amir's infiltrating Dragon Joe's crew, do you think she'll do in this arc? Do you think she'll be the one to kill Dragon Joe and he's down or captured? I don't think Dragon Joe's gonna die. Dragon Joe, I feel like, is gonna have a larger role in the series. I don't see him dying in this one. He seems like he's gonna be one of those characters that I've talked about. I don't think he'll be a good guy, but I think he'll be an ally in a way, as long as he's getting money out of it. I heard from someone who's reading it and it's getting canceled. You saw the horrible... Yeah, the Sonic trailer sucked. I haven't seen anything about Hellworm and Haguma being canceled. I know it's been pretty low on the rankings. I haven't seen anything about its sales. Chainsaw Man went up because it was in like the bottom third and now it's like in the middle. But Chainsaw Man volumes are doing it really well. Both Volume 1 and Volume 2 sold out, and then you do reprints. Same thing with Jujutsu Kaisen. They're both doing really well in sales. I don't know how Hellworm and Haguma is doing in sales.
I'll be sad if it gets canceled. I just started to really enjoy some of the stuff that's going on. Because like they introduce like the other guys, the other Hell Warden Zaishu has like mouths of of fugitive spirits that he's got cut off falling around. I think that's kind of going to be interesting if people have different body parts, maybe like with different regions. I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't know how it'll go. I feel like it could easily be axed, but I hope not. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, Sonic trailer was a goof. Oh god, I'm almost caught up. Yeah, I hope it doesn't get canceled. Oh shit, I understand though. Oh, maybe the sales report or something. I don't know about the sales. I know its rankings are pretty low. What's your opinion on Ichigo's character development? I like Ichigo. Ichigo's cool. I like Ichigo. He started out as a punk kid. He's very disrespectful, but very headstrong. But had a good heart, and then he became very, very calm. You know, pretty good guy. You know, you saw that after into the execution arc. You know, it was like a year and a half later, and he's very chill. He was much nicer, much more. He just seemed like I had more of a level head on his shoulders. I like him. I remember it was 20% Deku full cow. Boruto would fucking kill the shit out of Deku. Ethereon should have retained its relevance in the show went on. Its super weapon were good. Yeah, but it's not that big of a deal. Ethereon isn't that big of a deal in comparison. You have the Dragon Cry, you have Real Nightmare, you have the fucking Ars Magia, you had Deus Senma. There's a lot of things in it that were more powerful than Ethereon. Ethereon's still impressive, but it's not that big of a deal. I like that it came back with Wall, though. I like that Wall had it. I thought that was pretty cool. Hey, quit laying on my keyboard, you goofy cat. Hang on. I had to undo, oh my god. Made my goddamn chat go all the way to the bottom. There we go. I'm almost caught up. Maybe the sales report. I read that. Hey. Go to where I can see stuff. Which fight do you think was the least satisfying between Luffy, Katakuri, and Urza versus Azuma? I liked the Urza versus Azuma, 100%. I liked the Urza versus Azuma. No, so Urza stood up and kept fighting because she wanted to, you know, she talked about like, you know, who she was fighting for. The thing about that people understand is the energy that Azuma was using was from the Tree of Sirius Island, which's literal existence was made to protect people that have the Fairy Tail Guild mark on them. That's why when Azuma fucked with it, it was actually, instead of protecting them, that it was draining their magic. So Azuma just wasn't able to fully control the magic, and that's why it was, after that point, protecting Urza when she went in to attack him. So that one made more sense. I thought it was a really good scene. I still really like that fight. I thought that was really cool. I'll stand by that fight forever. I don't care what people try and say. I don't think a lot of people understand that. I don't think a lot of people paid attention to the fact that literally the tree was connected to if anybody who has the Fairy Tail Guild mark, and literally was made to protect them while they're on the island. That's why they went to the island for the S-Class exam. What's up, Catherine Merkel? I'm sorry you showed up near the end of the stream. If you're still here, I'm about to close it out. Gonna go watch the new Game of Thrones episode. If you are still here, I do these streams weekly. I do it every Sunday, and if you would like, you know, to come hang out more, I would really enjoy your presence. If you got any questions you want to ask, that'd be cool with me. Whatever series you want to ask, obviously there's main ones, Fairy Tail, Black Clover, 8-0, Chainsaw Man. Anything that you really want to ask, though, go ahead and ask. It's not a big deal with me. Yeah, I like the new Berserk chapter. I just wish there was more for it. Lucy is one of the best waifus, Jared Punch. I got to do a video on her because she legitimately is one of the best shonen leads for females, 100%. And I'm going to go into all the different facts about her, like how she stayed relevant. She had tons of character development and progression. She managed to save a lot of people a lot of the times. She was a lot better than people make her out to be. And a lot of people just ignore that just because she does get looted a lot, but who cares? The fact that she gets looted a lot and she exists on the level of relevancy and development that she has is amazing. Eden Zero, how you heard how Eden Zero is doing sales? They're doing all right, but not great. Each volume, I think the last volume was sold like 60 something thousand. I really hope that they go up. They haven't been doing as good as I want them to do. But Eden Zero, I don't think it's as heard of as it is. As long as it does good enough to get an anime, and then when I think it gets an anime, as long as the anime studio that it gets doesn't suck, I think then it will boost its sales. Because if you look at like, there's a lot of series that end up blowing up with when they get the anime. And I feel like Eden Zero would be one of those just because the cool space stuff. I feel like they could have a lot of really cool artistic scenes with not artistic scenes, artistic layouts with animation while showing all the cool space stuff. And I think that would boost the anime or the manga sales rather, and get more people on it. So I think a lot of people still just assume it's just Fairy Tail 2, which it isn't, which is retarded. There's so much. There's a lot of differences in this series. It's goofy. Yeah, Captain Merkel. If you haven't yet, I do the streams every Sunday. You can ask whatever you want. If it's whether a video that you watched of mine throughout the week, you have a question about it, you go ahead. Or if it's something unrelated, you want to ask me if I've read or watched the series, go ahead. I mean, it's really, these are mostly just like for community discussions a lot of the time. And if you haven't yet, I really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel. And like I said, check out my other videos. I just hit the 1,000 mark last week, and waiting for that monetization. And hopefully I can keep going, keep improving from here. It's been a little rough in this last week because obviously there's been no chapters of like Black Clover. Obviously is like one of my big view things people come for. And then the last 2 Fairy Tail chapters, I've had a lot of good wrap up and setup, but they haven't been as exciting as I think as like the ones before that. There'll probably be some pretty exciting chapters up and coming, but obviously the last 2 chapters were wrapping up previous stuff throughout the arc and then setting up for the future of the next arc. I wouldn't call a space laser that transcends space-time, destroys countless countries just impressive. I mean, it's impressive, but there's a ton of things in Fairy Tail that's more impressive than it that came throughout the story. I've been watching your streams for a while, just been lurking. Oh, well, I'm glad that you're chatting with people now. I appreciate the activity. I don't think Eden Zero will still get an elect because Mishima is really popular and gave Shonen Magazine really popular stuff for a while. I don't think it will get axed. I mean, it's still doing well, like getting 60, 70,000 sales or volume sales plus the fact that it let me check. I have it bookmarked on the app, and I'm wondering what the number of people that have it marked are, because they never put in volume sale or digital sales, because not only is Black Clover Eden Zero on the app website or the digital app, it also has like same day English translations that's digital on Comixology. It's like 80,000 on the digital one, so it's probably doing a lot better than we know it just in digital sales. I mean, it's still doing between 60 to 85,000 in volume. It's still pretty good without an anime. I mean, I think that once it gets an anime, I think it will end up getting way more popular. And thanks Jared Punch. Oh my god, I gotta catch up because I want to wrap up the stream. Canceled, I meant. Yeah, I don't think it'll get canceled. I've been reading through the Death Note at the moment up to volume 4. I haven't read the manga, I've only watched the anime. I think that there's stuff that happens differently. Eventually I'll go back and read it. Caught up with another episode of Kyoto Song of Blue Exorcist. Blue Exorcist, I really like the manga. I think the next episode, or the next chapter comes out this week. I suggest Noragami. I'll check it out. I've heard of that. I don't remember what it's out at the top of my head, but I will check it out. Usually, I'll at least take a look at something, check out the first chapter. Oh, Telehim seems to have read. He says it's good. Yukio Holder is cool. Yukio Holder, I liked it better as a weekly. I don't know what happened that he took it to make it a monthly. I feel like it hurt the series a little. The pacing has gotten really weird, and he's gotten way lewder, which, I mean, it gets a little bit awkward sometimes because I can't read it in public when it's like Pactios used to be just like a kiss, and now it's like he's like straight like everything but insertion. It's super erotically imposed, like Jesus. I wonder if Eden Zero will be an Ethereum like weapon. I think that my guess is the main weapon, the main cannon of the Eden Zero ship will be called Ethereon. I just feel like that's logical. Something for them to do that'd be really cool. Grimmjow has one too many rape phases. Grimmjow's awesome. I love Grimmjow. It's a shame that the magazine is not pushing it out like Attack on Titan. Well, Attack on Titan obviously is super popular, and it's got the anime, and the anime is also super well animated. And that's almost over though. But again, I went to a con recently, and on their display, one of the things was Eden Zero. They were advertising, so they're definitely advertising it. But once it's able to get an anime, probably within the next year or so, I think that like a lot of series will get a boost. But I think it will get a larger boost than I don't even know what it really would compare it to, because it's just hypothetical. But like Space, already has Hiro Mishima tied to it. Shiki and the crew are very fun. It's a very enjoyable series, so I think that alone will give it a large boost in sales when the time comes. Promise Neverland Volume 1 and 2, the manga has me hooked. I read the first half, and I'm going to read the second half when it ends, because I feel like it's one of those series that plays better when you read it in one go. It's a monthly manga series in the same magazine as Attack on Titan. Yeah, Yuki Holder. Yeah, Yuki Holder, I really wish didn't become a monthly. What character development do you see Homura getting when she sees Valkyrie? Depends on if my theory if a Valkyrie is one of the Oración Seis Galactica. If she's a villain, I think that will add an extra interesting layer to it. Me, I need an adult. Grimmjow, I need an adult. Why? Demon, what is this? Demon King Meliodas versus adult Naruto. If Naruto would body him. The thing about, let me just get this last out. The thing about Demon King Meliodas is we don't even know what the power was that the whole thing in the demon, when they were in purgatory, it was like, oh, I have this power that I have this whole time that I was afraid to use. And then we never find out what it was. We never found out what it was. And it was just like, Jesus. All right, Rex. Enjoy Game of Thrones. See you later. Yeah. I had fun talking to you guys. I have fun talking to you guys every week. We went a little bit longer than I was expecting this week. But, as long as you guys were entertained and had some good time listening and chatting, and look forward to talking to you guys next week as well. But other than that, like I said, I hope you guys have a good week. We're coming back off the hiatus from Golden Week, and we will get back to Black Clover, Chainsaw Man, My Hero Academia, Eden Zero, everything. Fire Force, if you haven't read it. I wish Gamblers Prayed to get more translations. Everything. We're getting to it. Other than that, talk to you guys next week, and I appreciate everyone who shows up and everyone who listens to this after the initial stream and listens to it later. Bye.